Well, hi everybody.
Hi.
I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it very much. By a show of hands, how many people have either heard me or Dr. Wallach before? Okay, how many people are brand spanking new? They haven't heard any of this before except maybe on the radio. Okay? And how many people were dragged here against their wills by their friends and family members? All right, I appreciate it. We're going to do tonight's event in two parts. Thank you, sir. Okay. We're going to do tonight's event in two parts. The first part is called the problem. The second part is called the solution. We're going to take a bathroom break between the two parts. And then when you come back to start part two, we're going to give stuff away. So that's not bad, okay? All right, are we ready to go?
Yep.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much. Hello, Missoula. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. I'm a licensed naturopathic physician. I have 23 years of clinical experience, and I give about approximately 100 free webinars and health lectures all around the country every year. Unlike my colleague, Dr. Wallach, who's closing in on 300. 300 at 72 years old. Can you imagine that? There's a reason why we do this. We're not crazy. We are dedicated. And we took oaths. I swore an oath. I take it very seriously. In 1991, I swore an oath as a naturopathic physician to educate people about health. I take it very seriously. As a matter of fact, if you look up the word doctor in Latin, it translates as teacher. It's very important. We need information, and we're lacking it in this country, in this culture. So in keeping with my dedication to being an educator, we're going to start with a test. Okay, we're going to start out tonight's event with a test. As it turns out, there's a difference between the way that men and women attend to detail. So we're going to do a little in-house experiment, all right? I'm going to show you a video. The video has two teams. They're passing a basketball back and forth. One team has white shirts on. The other team has black shirts on. Your job is to count how many times the players wearing white pass the ball back and forth. Okay? That's all you have to do. Now I need to double check this before I hit play to make sure we're good to go. Okay. Now this is going to start quickly, so pay attention please. Your job is to count how many times the players wearing white pass the ball. You ready? Okay, are you ready? Yeah. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, how many did you get?
13.
Okay, how many saw 13? Show of hands. Very good. How many saw 14? Show of hands. How many saw 15? Show of hands. All right, now without shouting it out, if you saw something funny, raise your hand. Okay, a bunch of people did. Okay. So the correct answer was 15 passes. No, it wasn't like that. Okay, now I'm going to rewind it. There's no funny business here. I'm going to rewind the whole thing. And I want you to watch it just like it's a movie. Don't be concerned about counting. Just watch it. It's a guy in a gorilla suit! How could you miss a guy in a gorilla suit? He was there before he was there the first time. How many people didn't see the gorilla? Be honest. It's a guy in a gorilla suit. How could you miss him? He's right there. He wasn't wearing white. That's the correct answer. That's the correct answer. Now this video was done by a professor named Dan Simons at the University of Indiana. And he uses it, it's called the selective attention test. Because the way that our brain is wired is that it cannot pay attention to a lot of things all at once. When we're focusing on certain details, we're completely blind to big stuff that's right in front of our face, like a guy in a gorilla suit. Couldn't see it. This is one of the reasons why we struggle with our health. And you'll see what I'm talking about shortly. Where did I read this? My people are destroyed by lack of knowledge. My people are destroyed by lack of knowledge. Now, this is as religious as I'm going to get. We're not going to talk about religion. We're not going to talk about politics. We're going to talk about health. But the fact of the matter is that knowledge is power. And like the fella said, you don't know what you don't know. I know that I can't speak Spanish. I know that. I know that I don't know how to fly a plane. I know that. But there's some stuff that is so far outside of our knowledge base. For every one of us, we don't even know we don't know that. And it's that stuff that is so far outside of our knowledge base when it comes to health that will kill us or heal us. And it's my intention tonight to increase your knowledge base a little bit more than it already is. To give you the capacity to understand when to use conventional medicine and when to run away from conventional medicine. Every culture has myths. It's built into the fabric of society. Years ago, everybody was convinced the earth was flat, right? And if you went too far, you're going over the edge, baby. And everybody was wrong. After that, those blacks, they're not really people. They're just animals. That's how we justified slavery for 600 years, and everybody was wrong. After that, women aren't smart enough to vote. Everybody was wrong. Every culture has myths. It's just part of the deal. These are beliefs, dogmas that are so embedded into the fabric of our culture that we don't even know it's a myth. And when it comes to our health, there are two myths that we are suffering from egregiously here. The first myth is that the MD is the undisputed king of medicine and everybody else is a back-of-the-bus alternative quack. For the last 100 years in the United States, medicine has been monopolized by the MDs. The MDs are trained in one particular facet of medicine, and one facet of medicine only. Medicine is like dogs. There's a lot of different types of dogs. There's bloodhounds. They're good for finding people lost in the wilderness. There's golden retrievers. They're good to hunt pheasants with. There's chihuahuas. I have no idea what chihuahuas are good for. Footballs. You're not going to take a chihuahua pheasant hunting, right? It's the wrong dog for the hunt. Well, it's no different with medicine. MDs are trained in one particular facet of medicine, but they have sold their type of medicine as the only medicine. As a matter of fact, they have passed laws which make it illegal for people to practice medicine if they're not an MD, and this guy saw it coming. Dr. Benjamin Rush would be spinning in his grave right now if he saw the state of affairs that we have. This guy was one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. He put his life, his liberty, and his fortune on the line so that the United States of America could be born. And here is what Dr. Benjamin Rush said over 200 years ago. Unless we put medical freedom into the Constitution, the time will come when medicine will organize itself into a dictatorship. To restrict the art of healing to one class of men and deny equal privileges to others will constitute the Bastille of medical science. All such laws are un-American and despotic, and ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly what's happened. The only medicine that they teach you about in school is MD-directed medicine. The only medicine your insurance pays for is MD-directed medicine. The only medicine that they make TV shows about is MD-directed medicine. Now, in Washington State, as a naturopathic physician, I can deliver babies, prescribe drugs, work in hospitals, perform minor surgery, order any diagnostic test I want, legally refer to myself as a physician, and most of it's covered by insurance. If I was to do exactly the same thing in Chicago, where I now live, or in 36 other states in the United States, exactly the same thing that I did in Seattle, I'd be thrown in jail and fined thousands of dollars for practicing medicine without a license. And that's just not right. We do not have a free medical market in the United States. We do not. And we have not for the last 100 years. But because we have stuff to do, we've got mortgages to pay, jobs to keep, kids to raise, we've got things we need to attend to, we miss the million-pound gorilla in the middle of the country, that is that we don't have medical freedom. We are completely embedded in the cultural myth that the MD knows everything there is to know about medicine. We don't even think about it. And it's killing us. MDs, bless their hearts, don't know medical science. They're taught one piece of the pie. Just one piece. It's a good piece. It's really excellent for surgery and for trauma and for a handful of infectious diseases. It's really good for that. But for most of the conditions that most of us go to the doctor for, it doesn't work. Not only does it not work, but it's dangerous. But we can't see this because we have no perspective. So let's take a minute to look at the type of dog that the MDs are. Let's take a look at the type of medicine that they're trained in. Now, I am a licensed naturopathic physician. There are chiropractic physicians, osteopathic physicians, homeopathic physicians, traditional Chinese medical doctors, acupuncture, and so forth. The type of medicine that your MD is trained in is called allopathic medicine. Now, how many people in this room, that's the first time you've heard that term? Show of hands. Right? Because you think doctors practice medicine. Well, they don't. And by the way, whomever coined the term medical doctor was a marketing genius. You know, that's like passing a law that says the only dog that can call itself a dog is a Great Dane. All other dogs are alternative dogs. Right? That's what it's like. But we have no perspective on this because it's a cultural myth. Now, allopathic, what the MD is trained in, is from the Greek opposite of disease. The medical doctors are trained to deliver medicines which oppose the disease. This is, in fact, how the medicines got their name. Antibiotics, anti-inflammatories, antihypertensive, antidepressants, antacids, and inhibitors, right? This is how the medicines got their name. And the philosophy of allopathic medicine is reductionistic. The philosophy of naturopathic medicine is holistic. We believe that the human body is a complex system of interrelated parts. We believe that the human body has the ability to fix itself. MDs are trained in a Newtonian method of looking at life, which is reductionistic. So MDs are trained to look at the body like it's a machine made of parts. And then when somebody is sick, they're trained to take the body apart into the smallest piece that's broken with each medicine delivered to each piece. This is why, if you go to see an MD, you spend 2 minutes with the doctor if you're lucky, and the rest of the time is spent with X-ray and CT and urinalysis and blood work and MRIs and all of this diagnostic discovery, the intention of which, right, is to take the body apart and to find a piece that's broken so that you can deliver a medicine for that piece, which is also why when you go to these people, you get one medicine For your blood pressure, one medicine for your heartburn, one medicine for your arthritis, one medicine for your migraines, one medicine for your diabetes, one medicine for your insomnia, one medicine for your depression, and one medicine to take care of the side effects of all those medicines, right? I mean, that's the way it is. That's what we're used to. That's what we do without question, but there's a reason. We don't know the reason. This isn't because MDs have stock in drug companies. Well, you know, maybe they do, but it's their philosophy of treatment which teaches them that this is how it's got to be done. Because they're reductionists. They take the body apart and give a medicine for each piece. This is why they're so very, very good at illnesses which really do affect a part of the body, like there's a bullet in my arm, or a broken leg, or my artery is bleeding. You know, if you were wounded in Vietnam, you had a 17% chance of survival, more or less. If you're wounded today, you have an 85% chance of survival. Because these guys are really good at reductionism. They're really good at it. That's where they shine and excel. And the stuff they can do with surgery is just this side of miraculous. But for most of the conditions that most of us go to the doctor for, their therapeutics fail us. One other thing about MDs. They are trained in the exclusive use of synthetic pharmaceuticals. Is that someone to read? Okay. The exclusive use of pharmaceuticals. You ever think about that? Most prescription drugs come from plants. Why not just use the plant? Well, there's one reason. Ka-ching.
Yeah.
You can't patent a naturally occurring substance. You can't go to Washington, D.C. and patent buttercups, or echinacea, or oxygen, or orange juice. If you can't patent it, anybody can make it. So why on earth would I want to do $60 million of research to prove that buttercups cure brain cancer when once I had proved that, anybody could make the buttercup medicine? Well, guess what? I wouldn't do that, which is why it isn't done. This is another huge component of MD-directed treatment that nobody sees. It is 100% profit-driven. Premarin is the most famous example. Premarin was a synthetic hormone delivered to women for 30 years in this country. It's still prescribed. For 30 years, this was the most prescribed medicine in the United States. Premarin. And it was prescribed for a non-medical condition. Menopause. Menopause is not a disease. It's a time of life. Puberty is not a disease. It's a time of life. But I swear to God, an MD can put a white coat on, strap a stethoscope around his neck, and tell you to jump off the roof of the hospital, and you do it. Because we have become inclined culturally to trust that the MD knows what's best for us. But they don't. They only know what they've been trained in, and what they're trained in is a very small subset of everything. It's one type of dog. Now, Premarin, interestingly enough, you know, there does exist in a certain percentage of menopausal women hormonal imbalances which cause mood irregularities and hot flushes, and it's not fun. Something needs to be done. What naturopathic physicians do is provide therapeutics that support and promote the body's hormones. We give stuff to make the body fix it itself. What the MDs do, you're not going to believe what they did. They thought like this: well, it's a hormone problem, so rather than just give human hormone, which you can do, and which has no side effects virtually, here's what they decided to do. We're going to take 1 part human hormone and 2 parts horse hormone. We're going to mix them together and give it to women, and we're going to call it Premarin. That's how the medicine got its name. Premarin, the horse hormones are extracted from the urine of pregnant mares. Oh, that's a good idea. 1 part human hormone, 2 parts horse hormone. Well, guess what? That's never existed in the natural world before, so we're pretty sure we can patent that. Only 3 problems with Premarin: breast cancer, uterine cancer, and thrombophlebitis, plus the whole host of other things. But those were the 3 major ones. So let me get this straight. Your MD decided to give your mother or your grandmother a medicine made from 1 part human hormone, 2 parts horse hormone for a non-medical condition, which created the side effect of breast cancer and uterine cancer, and you let them do it. But it's not your fault, because you trusted them to know what's best. You didn't know. You didn't see the gorilla. My people are destroyed by lack of knowledge. There's a new sheriff in town, and I'm going to put an end to that. Now listen, maybe I'm wrong, right? Who knows, right? Maybe Dr. Glidden has some axe to grind with the MDs. Who knows? Maybe the medical doctor ran away with my fiancée. Who knows, right? You guys don't know me from Adam. If I'm correct in my assertion that the type of medicine that MDs practice doesn't work for the things that we go to the doctor for most of the time, I'd better have some data to back that up. Otherwise, I'm all hat and no cattle, right? Well, let's take a look at what results we've gotten for the last 100 years while MDs have been driving the bus of medicine. It's called the American paradox. According to the World Health Organization, in 2005 we were 72nd in the world. Now we're 75th in 2012. In 1980 we were 14th. We went from 14th to 75th. That's the wrong direction. While MDs were driving the bus. But that's the entire world. Let's just take a look at the industrialized nations. Places like England and Canada and France and Spain and Germany and Switzerland. Of all of the industrialized nations, the average that those countries spend per person per year on healthcare is $2,800. We spend $6,400. It's more than this now. It's like $7,000. It's almost 2.5, 3 times as much as everybody else. And for this exorbitant expenditure of money, the United States is second from the bottom in the health of our citizens in the industrialized nations. Second from the bottom, the United States of America. While MDs have been driving the bus, obesity has increased by 60% in adults, and it's tripled in kids. Now, these slides don't work. It's tripled in kids. 30% of our children are obese. And 300,000 people a year march through death's door because of obesity-related health problems, while the MD has been driving the bus. Which wouldn't be so tragic if obesity wasn't the easiest thing in the world to fix. And if you stick with me to the second half of this lecture, I will show you, and it'll take me 5 minutes to do it, the secret to weight loss that not even Oprah knows. While MDs have been driving the bus, high blood pressure is skyrocketing. Most of the time, high blood pressure is a simple calcium deficiency, extremely easy to fix. Kidney transplants, skyrocketing. Kidney disease, most of the time, is due to blocked arteries feeding the kidney. Again, it's easy to fix, all caused by diet. Antidepressant use is skyrocketing, and, tragedy of tragedies, one of the leading side effects of antidepressant use in teenagers, suicide. You know what this means? Your child is suffering for no fault of their own. They're having trouble. Most of the time, depression is a blood sugar problem. in addition to sometimes maybe a thyroid problem. Most of the time it's simple essential fatty acid deficiencies and blood sugar problems. We fix it all the time. But you take a kid, a teenager who's suffering with depression to an MD, they throw a drug at it. 2 months later, the child walks into the woods with a Winchester and blows his brain out as a side effect of the drug, and nobody goes to jail. And we don't bat an eyelash. Because we are deeply embedded in the false cultural belief that the MD's you-know-what does not stink. We have no perspective on this, and it's killing us. While MDs have been driving the bus, life expectancy has flatlined. My and man's years shall number 120. Any geneticist will tell you that the human body has the potential to make it to 120. Nobody in the world does this except a handful of cultures. In the U.S., if you're a woman, you're lucky if you make it to 83. If you're a man, you're lucky if you make it to 75. And the last 15 years aren't that pretty. We've got no hair, can't hear, can't see, have cataracts removed, 4 fused vertebrae. We've got no gallbladder, 1 kidney, 5 fake knees. We need a prescription medicine to pee and a prescription medicine not to pee. Prescription medicine to sleep, prescription medicine to wake up, prescription medicine for the pain, a prescription medicine for the heart, prescription medicine for the blood pressure, prescription medicine for the heartburn. And if we're lucky enough to make it to 85 years of age, 75% of us will have Alzheimer's, the golden years. Brought to you by bus driver MD. Cancer. You got seatbelts? Strap them on. This was recorded in the Journal of Clinical Oncology in 2004. It does not get any better than that. They looked at 14 years of data, 14 years of adults around the world who had developed cancer and were taking chemo. And here is what they published in the Journal of Clinical Oncology. 97% of the time, chemotherapy for adult-onset cancer does not work. 97% of the time. Now, you want to tell me why chemotherapy clinics are popping up like weeds? One word, ka-ching. If your MD prescribes an antibiotic, there's no kickback. With chemotherapy, they make an exception. Here's how it goes with chemo. The hospital buys the chemo drug from Pfizer Pharmaceutical for $3,000. They sell it to the patient for $12,000. Insurance pays $9,000, and the hospital and the oncologist split the difference. That is the only reason chemotherapy is still used, because it does not work. Look at it. If Ford Motor Company made an automobile that exploded 97% of the time you drove it off the lot, they wouldn't be in business. But the MDs remain in business because they are an unchecked monopoly. It is a monopoly. Wedded to a for-profit machine. I've got nothing against making money, but when you tie monopoly to a for-profit engine, everybody loses except the guys selling the drugs. Heart disease. You would think that after 45 years of cholesterol-lowering statin drugs, low-fat diets, and exercise, heart disease would have changed, but it hasn't. Well, this is not correct. It's no longer the #1 killer. But it hasn't changed. The number of people getting heart disease has not changed. It's gone up every year, but there's something that's outpaced it. I'm going to get to that in a second. Medicine in the USA is not results-driven, it's profits-driven. If it was results-driven, they would have stopped statin drugs 15 years ago, and they would have stopped chemotherapy 8 years ago. Because the numbers are in, it doesn't work. But they keep doling the stuff out because it's an unchecked monopoly. For goodness sake, I can only practice medicine in 16 states in the United States, and my scope of practice isn't that big. That's like passing a law that says only McDonald's can sell hamburgers in Missoula. Nobody else gets to do that. This is the gorilla that nobody sees. Because we're embedded in our lives. We've got things to do, man. And we trust that our Marcus Welby, MD, knows what's best for us. And that trust is misplaced. But don't worry, it gets worse. Not only do the medicines not work, but according to brand new data, it's a 25-page report, extremely well referenced. You can download this tonight for free from my website, drglidden.com. MD-directed medical treatments have risen to the leading cause of death in the United States, outpacing heart disease. It's called Death by Medicine. You can download the whole report at drglidden.com. And by the way, my last name, Glidden, just like the paint, no relation. And if you forget the name of the website, just do a Google search, Dr. Glidden. I usually come up number one. Okay? So here's the numbers. The third leading cause of death in the United States is cancer. 550,000 people, more or less, a year die from cancer. After $1 trillion of money, that's $1,000 billion of research and development. They can't fix cancer. They can't do it. Their results with cancer were so bad that they moved the goalpost. So now, if you have a cancer diagnosis and you lived for 5 years, that's considered a successful treatment, even if you die from cancer. It goes into the record books as a successful treatment. Cancer rates have remained unchanged. We're taking the wrong dog for the hunt. You cannot fix cancer with reductionistic medicine. You cannot do it. It will fail every time, but you'll make a giant boatload of money into the bargain. Second leading cause of death, heart disease. 700,000 people. You would think after 30 years of statin drugs, that would have changed. And by the way, statin drugs are cholesterol-lowering drugs, right? You know why they're called statin drugs? Because if they call them liver poison, they'd be harder to sell. Your liver makes cholesterol. Cholesterol is so important to the human body, your body makes it. 75% of your brain is made from cholesterol. All of your sex hormones are made from cholesterol. All of the walls around the trillions of cells in your body are made from cholesterol. I think it's pretty important. Statin drugs work by causing inflammation in your liver, which stops your liver from making cholesterol. This is why when you take a statin drug, you have to get checked for hepatitis every 6 months. Because the drug can give you hepatitis. Oh, please, doctor, please, can I have some more of that? Can I please have some more of that statin drug? Please. I know that I need it. This is what $25 million of direct-to-consumer advertising will also convince you. All those commercials you see on TV every day, it gets to be ridiculous, doesn't it? They see Cialis and Viagra and all this nonsense. And then they read you the side effects. Yeah. Death. Oh yeah, let's take that. The reason that they do that is because it works. It works. Direct-to-consumer advertising has increased drug sales by over 30%. It works. That's why they do it. Now look, there's nothing wrong with drugs, folks. I can prescribe drugs. Drugs are like guns. There's nothing wrong with a gun. It's how you use it. Right? Right. You darn tootin'. But in the wonderful world of MD-directed medicine, all they use is drugs. And like the fella said, when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. First leading cause of death, MD treatment, 780,000. You got to be kidding me. 780,000 people a year are killed by MD-directed treatments, and we line up for it. And it costs us $750 billion a year to do this. That's what it costs us. You know what that means? That's what they profit from it. Whenever you hear those statistics and they spin this one beautifully, oh, the cost of heart disease is $20 billion a year. Oh, the cost of treating obesity, $100 billion a year. Baloney. It's the profits that they're making. Because medicine's a for-profit industry. And last but not least, according to the United States Department of Health and Human Services, this was published in USA Today a year ago, MD-directed medical treatments kill 15,000 Medicare patients a month. 15,000 a month! And nobody goes to jail! 3,000 people die in the Twin Towers, we go to war! But 15,000 are killed by your MD, and we don't bat a freaking eyelash. My people are destroyed, literally, by lack of knowledge. That's why I named my book, The MD Emperor Has No Clothes, right? According to Sherlock Holmes, when you've eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. Given all those crazy statistics, there's only one possible explanation. MD-directed treatment for chronic disease don't work. They don't work. This is why we're losing the middle class. Companies cannot afford to pay a living wage and health care. So they ship the job overseas, because they don't have to pay for health care over there. Why is health care so exorbitantly high? Is it because of insurance fraud? No. Is it because of a runaway pharmaceutical monopoly? No. Those things play into it, but the main reason medical costs are so high is because they don't work. And this is the billion-pound gorilla that nobody sees. And by the way, when you buy insurance, medical insurance, what are you doing?
Betting that you get sick.
You're betting you're going to get smartest girl in class. You're betting you're going to get so darn sick you won't be able to afford it. Isn't that right? Isn't it better to spend that money on something that's going to make you healthy rather than hope you don't get sick and then only have access to drugs and surgery? We've gone so far down this rabbit hole, folks. Your MD could tell you to take rat poison, and you do it. Oh, wait a minute, they do. It's called warfarin. Coumadin. This is what we expect in the United States. We expect our health to get worse as we get older, right? We expect it. Meanwhile, in third world countries like Georgia in Russia, this guy's 105 years old. He's got no medical insurance, no health care, no Walgreens, no hospital, no doctor. He's lucky if he's got a roof over his head. He's 105 years old and he's healthy. And he's not alone. The Vilcabambas in Peru, the Hunzas in Afghanistan, the Bamas in China, the Okinawans in extreme southern Japan are all longevity people. 1 out of 250 of them are over 100. 1 out of 250. It's a third world culture in the U.S. It's 1 out of 10,000. And when we're over 100, we're sitting in wheelchairs drooling. It is crazy what we put up with because we don't know any better. You know, this means third world cultures have 40 times the amount of people over 100 that we do. And we're okay with that. I'm not okay with it. Neither is Dr. Wallach. He wrote an entire book about it. That's what they get, that's what we get. One more time for effect. That's what they get, that's what we get. The United States of America. Dr. Wallach visited all of these long-lived cultures and figured out what they did. Figured it out. Wrote a book about it called Immortality. This is one of Doc's greatest books. It's a really good book. It lays out everything that they did. These people were doing things by accident, which increased their life. They were doing it by accident. If we do it on purpose, guess what? We're going to get better results, which is why Dr. Wallach chose longevity as the name for this company, because it's the art of living younger, longer. We know how to do this. This is an academic fact. It's not debatable. If you stick with us, we will teach you how to do this, and we won't charge you an insurance copay. We won't charge you a doctor's office visit. This lecture was free, right? Yes. Medical myth number 2. Healing is complicated. It's not. We think that when we're sick, and we've got high blood pressure, or osteoporosis, or osteoarthritis, or fibromyalgia, or heartburn, or palpitating heart, or anxiety and panic attacks, or whatever it is that we've got, we think we have to go to a multi-million-dollar high-tech facility directed by MDs in order to have them fix it. And it must be some sophisticated, complicated thing. It's not. Healing is as easy as breathing. You cut your hand, do you have to tell your immune system when to lay down fibrinogen and secrete helper T cells and activate macrophage response time? Do you have to do that? You don't even know what that is. When you eat an apple, do you have to tell your digestive tract how to digest it and how to poop it out? No. As a matter of fact, your body was so smart, it grew itself, all by itself, from a single-celled organism into the magnificent manifestation of you. Hallelujah. Holistic physicians theorize that, you know what, if the body could do that, it pretty much knows how to fix itself. The only thing that's complicated is surgery. If you're going to try to pull a bullet out of somebody's arm or sew up a bleeding artery, you better have medical training. But as God is my witness, for most of the things we go to the doctor for, most of the time, you don't need to go to the doctor, because healing is easy. Because your body knows how to do it. And we have it all dialed in for you thanks to Dr. Wallach. We're busting this myth wide open. Now, I've been doing this for 23 years, naturopathic medicine. And I got great results, because you do, if you do this. In the last 3 years, I've been following Dr. Wallach's lead. Dr. Wallach's become my mentor, thank God. And since I've been following Wallach's lead, using his protocols and his therapeutics, I don't know what planet I'm on anymore. Because the things I've seen people recover from are blowing my mind, quite frankly. You would not believe the things I've seen people recover from. There's a reason that Dr. Wallach's therapeutics eclipse everybody else, and they do. And here's the reason. Every industry has a superstar. Michael Jordan, what a basketball player. Da Vinci, Einstein, right? There are people that are way above everybody else in certain aspects of life. Well, in holistic medicine, it's Wallach. And there's a reason for it. And let me give you just a little brief history of Dr. Wallach. He won't talk about himself a lot, but I will. Doc has been published 70 times. He's written 11 books. You know how hard it is to get published just once? Wallach's been published 70 times. He has the longest running health talk radio show in U.S. history. He gives 300 free lectures a year at 72 years old. And he sued the FDA 8 times. Cost him $1 million out of his own pocket each time. He sued the FDA on your behalf in order to secure something called the Certified Health Claim. This is one of Dr. Wallach's lawsuits that we're allowed to say this. And you might want to ask yourself why you've never heard this before. Because of Dr. Wallach's lawsuit, we can say that 200 micrograms of selenium, which is a mineral supplement like calcium, cheaper than dirt, because it's made from dirt. That's where it comes from. Selenium comes from the soil. 200 micrograms of selenium reduces the occurrence of breast cancer by 82%. Prostate, 69, colon, 64, and lung, 39. And there's the reference for the bean counters. You know what this means? If every girl in the United United States took one selenium supplement a day in one generation, we reduced breast cancer by 82%. Now, why aren't the Susan G. Komen women marching for that? Yeah, because there ain't no money in selenium. In medicine in the United States is a for-profit, pharmaceutical-driven industry. For better or for worse, that's the way that it is. You know, how many women got this phone call? This was published, for goodness sake, in the Journal of the American Medical Association, 1998. Mary, it's your doctor. I know it's 11 o'clock at night, but you're not going to believe it. I know there's a history of breast cancer in your family. I just read in JAMA that selenium will virtually eliminate it. I want you to go to the health food store tonight. I want you to throw a brick through the window. I want you to get some selenium and start taking it now. How many women got that phone call? 0. And I'm the choir. You've got to be kidding me. Dr. Wallach. The reason that Wallach's therapeutics, holistic medical therapeutics, work way better than anything I've ever seen is because of this. This book was written by Dr. Wallach. It's in the Smithsonian Institute. It's a national treasure. It was the result of $25 million of federally funded research that Wallach was in charge of from 71 to 83. It was a massive research project, massive. Wallach was in charge of the whole shebang. They did 26,000 autopsies, 10 million blood chemistries and histopathologies. This is a ton of fun. This is a lot of work. There's nobody else that's done this. And by the way, in the world of science, there's 2 camps. There's the people that do the research and there's the people that treat patients. It's rare that you get somebody with a foot in both worlds. Wallach has his foot squarely in both worlds. He did all of this research. This research eliminated 900 diseases in the animal kingdom. Eliminated it. Tripled the lifespan of the average household dog. This research is why bacon only costs, what, $2 a pound? Because the pigs and steak is affordable and eggs are affordable? Because the cows and the chickens and the pigs don't get arthritis and osteoporosis and fibromyalgia and congestive heart failure. They don't get those things. Why? Because they eliminated them with nutrition from this work. And what they discovered with this work was that the majority of chronic diseases are caused by not enough nutrition. Your body runs out of calcium, you get high blood pressure. Your body runs out of selenium, you get cystic fibrosis. Your body runs out of magnesium, you get high blood pressure, coronary artery disease. You don't have a bad gene, and you haven't been cursed by God. By the way, one of my pet peeves, whenever a healthcare professional, I don't care what their degree is, whenever they tell you it's genetic, that's code for, I have no idea what's causing it, I don't want to look stupid. If any medical professional tells you your illness is genetic, I want you to take 2 steps closer to it, and I want you to say, really, doctor? Which gene? We mapped the entire human genome 7 years ago. Which gene? It's not genetic. Wallach discovered the majority of these things are caused by nutrient deficiencies and are eliminated with nutrition, and these illnesses crossed species lines. Didn't matter if it was a bat, a buffalo, a boa constrictor, or a baboon. If there wasn't enough calcium, the animal got sick and died. If there wasn't enough vitamin C, the animal got sick and died. If there wasn't enough vitamin D, the animal got sick and died, and so forth and so on. It's not rocket science. They proved it. But in the United States, because of the medical monopoly that we have, with your MD owning only one small aspect of medicine, pharmaceutical medicine, which remember is good for certain things, when you throw a drug at a nutrient deficiency, everybody gets sick. That's why everybody in this country is sick. We're a ship of fools. We are. But because everybody's sick, we expect it to happen. The only reason everybody is sick in this country is because everybody goes to the MD. The only reason that obesity is skyrocketing, that autism is skyrocketing, that Alzheimer's is skyrocketing, that blood pressure is skyrocketing, that arthritis is skyrocketing, is because we're taking the wrong dog for the hunt. We don't even know there's another dog. By the way, the American Medical Association was convicted in federal court in 1985 of promoting a 10-year slander campaign against the chiropractors. They were going around the country saying, oh, don't go to those chiropractors, they're quacks, they have substandard training and they'll kill you. They lied on purpose and were ordered by the feds to pay the chiropractors $25 million in damages, but nobody went to jail. When you mix a monopoly with a for-profit industry, the only people that win are the people making the medicine. We expect our health to decline as we age because we put our trust in the wrong, so we took the wrong dog out for the hunt. This is what we expect. And it is absolutely 100% avoidable. So let's put it all together, wrap it up, take a break, shall we? I appreciate your time, ladies and gentlemen. If all chronic illness is rooted in improper nutrition, the medical profession that can fix it is the one that's trained in holistic medical nutrition. Kind of a no-brainer. Of all of the holistic doctors in the world, who has the most experience with medical nutrition's wallet? Hands down. Which is why longevity is your last best hope for living a long, healthy, and prosperous life. I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. Thank you for your time. Okay, 10-minute bathroom break. Take yourselves at home, come on back, we're going to give away some stuff, and then I'm going to tell you how to fix it. Got a bunch of stuff here. What are we going to give away first?
Alright, we're going to be giving out some of the famous Dr. Glidden CDs. Who Made MDs King and Healing is Easy, which is one of my favorites if you want to learn how to basically make yourself better. And
the winner is Roxanne Cloud. Clough. Roxanne Clough. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Roxanne. Okay, the next thing is the other CD, and the winner is Girl Claw. You've got to be kidding me. What are the chances of that? You guys better go to the casino immediately after you leave here tonight. Wow. All right, shake the bug. Okay, the next one is Dr. Glidden's book, The MD Emperor Has No Clothes, right here. And if you love the lecture, you're going to love the book, ladies and gentlemen. And the winner is Tom Claw. No, only kidding. Thomas O'Leary, another Irishman just like me. Thomas O'Leary, is it not? That's in the back. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you, Thomas. What are we giving away next, Viv?
Alright, we're going to give away a Healthy Start Pack one at a time. Actually, this is supposed to be OsteoFX Plus, but
Okay, so we're giving away the liquid plant minerals. Liquid plant minerals. This is... Okay, we're going to give away that too. You want to give away this too? All right, liquid plant minerals. This is the secret sauce that I'm going to talk to you about in a minute. This product, 77 plant-derived organic colloidal minerals, and the winner is Sam Heacock. Yes, I'm going to talk about that in the second half. Yes, smartest girl in class. Colloidal means more absorbable. And now we have the white liquid calcium OsteoFX Plus, this is 97% absorbable. This is the calcium that cures or that fixed the arthritis needs. Linda Parents. Linda Parents? Linda Parents, you can't win if you're not present. Linda Parents, P-A-R-E-N-C-E, she's not here? Okay, Linda, we're gonna move on. Who's gonna get the white liquid calcium? Shake the box up. Shake the box up. Here we go. The winner is Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson. Ooh, Jeff Wilson. Hey, 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 ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Wilson. Okay, now the next thing is our multiple vitamin, multiple mineral, multiple amino acid, multiple antioxidant in a microcrystalline patent powder that took 5 years of research and development to figure out how to do. That's Dr. Wallach, driver of the bus. George Gallagher. George Gallagher, right there. All right, George. George, put inside that jar, there's a little blue scoop. Put 1 scoop into 16 ounces of water 3 times a day and drink it slowly. Take 30 minutes to drink it. 1 scoop and 16 ounces of water 3 times a day. And last but not least, this is our essential fatty acid. Another one of Dr. Wallach's lawsuits with the FDA allows us to say that supplementing with this virtually eliminates the risk of stroke. This is an essential fatty acid, okay? Packed in a nitrogenated gel cap. It's fantastic. And the winner is? Sheila Alstad. Alstad? Sheila Alstad. All right. Okay, is that it? Okay, we are good. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give Vivian and Gary a round of applause. Let's give these guys a round of applause because they're the ones that came from the room. They're the ones that advertised and got you here. And this is what I'd like to talk about next real quick. Yeah, this is the red powder that we gave to that gentleman in the back. This is the multivitamin powder. Okay, and I'm going to talk about all this stuff now. drglidden.com, there's my book. You can go online and order it, and I hope that you do. Makes a wonderful gift. And if you go online to order it, on checkout there's a little coupon box that will pop up. And if you type in my last name, Glidden, all lowercase, you'll get $5 off the cost of the book. Okay? Okay, good. Now, the second medical myth is that healing is complicated, right? Yeah, we talked about that. Dr. Wallach's research proves that that wasn't, but here's what I didn't tell you about that. This took 12 years to do. And Doc did this all over the country at different places. One of the places that he did it at was Yerkes Primate Research Center in Atlanta, Georgia. There's Dr. Wallach with a rhesus monkey. Dr. Wallach, while working for Yerkes Primate Research Center doing that research, proved and published that cystic fibrosis is not a humans only disease, that it in fact can cross species lines that occur in monkeys. This was a gigantic breakthrough. He proved also that it is not genetic, that it was in fact caused by a selenium deficiency in the pregnant mother. So when the mother was pregnant and the infant, whether it was a monkey or a human, is developing, if there's not enough selenium in the blood, cystic fibrosis or muscular dystrophy shows up. This was a gigantic breakthrough. I mean, if he hadn't figured the selenium thing out, just to prove that it crosses species lines was a big deal. This was a big deal. And for this incredible gift to humankind, Yerkes Primate Research Center fired him. They fired him. And every major teaching university in the United States he was blackballed in by the National Institute of Health. They told every teaching hospital, medical school in the U.S., if you hire Wallach, we're going to pull your funding. Why is this? Because if you cure a disease, all your research dollars dry up, number one, and number two, selenium is not patentable, right? Now, these chickens have come home to roost, and I don't have a slide for this in this presentation. In January, Dr. Wallach was awarded something called the Klaus-Schwarz Commemorative Medal for his work with cystic fibrosis and selenium 30 years ago. It was finally recognized in the academic world, and it was kind of a big deal for Dr. Wallach, right? So, look, as God is my witness, Dr. Wallach has forgotten more about medical nutrition than most doctors know. Wallach is always ahead of the curve. When he first came out with Dead Doctors Don't Lie, that audio CD of his lecture, right? Sold 100 million copies, that audio CD. He said on that CD that Alzheimer's was not genetic. Every state medical association sued him. There were 50 lawsuits against Dr. Wallach because the Medical Board of Montana and the Medical Board of Washington and the Medical Board of Hawaii and Alaska and Connecticut, all 50 states, sued Dr. Wallach for defrauding the public. He won every single lawsuit. And 20 years later, Harvard University publishes a study. Alzheimer's, not genetic. Wallach knew it before. Dr. Wallach published in 1972 a research paper that proved that clogged arteries have nothing to do with cholesterol. Clogged arteries are not caused by cholesterol. It's got nothing to do with it. Thinking that cholesterol is the cause of a clogged artery is like thinking firemen cause fires. Because son of a gun, the bigger the fire, the more firemen, right? If cholesterol was the cause, then after 45 years of cholesterol-lowering drugs, fat-free diets, and exercise, heart disease should have changed, but it hasn't. It's got nothing to do with it. Doc's always ahead of the game. Now, when these guys fired him, Dr. Wallach figured out years ago that the front door of medicine is guarded by the pharmaceutical industry, and it is. So he did all this research. They eliminated 900 diseases in the animal kingdom, proved that those diseases crossed species lines, so he knew it had to happen in humans. So he got a naturopathic medical degree and started using with his human patients the research that they got from all this, the information that they got from all this research. Got unbelievable results. And then Doc Wallach is having anxiety attacks because he needs to figure out a way to get this information to people. He needs to figure out a way to do it. He can't sleep at night. Because he knows how to fix it. Oh, and by the way, we can't say we can cure anything. Because according to the FDA, the only thing that can cure anything is a drug. So we can't say that we can cure anything, nor do we even say we treat anything. But here's what we do say. Our therapeutics, our health recovery protocols, support and promote the health of the human body, and most of the time will make your symptoms go away 100%. Now, because of the pharmaceutical guard at the front door of medicine, Wallach knew he couldn't get his information of health recovery through medical nutrition through normal research and publication channels. He couldn't do it. So he decided on purpose, which he caught a lot of crap for, quite frankly, 30 years ago. He decided on purpose to set longevity up as a networked business. He did that intentionally. And he did it for a reason. You know, he could have decided to sell his health recovery protocols through the home shopping network, like that guy Andrew Lessing. He could have done that. He could have had a whole line of nutraceuticals at GNC and every health food store in the United States. He could have done that. He could have developed a direct-to-physician-only line of vitamins and minerals. He could have done that. A lot of my buddies did. I used to work for a company that did that. But he did not. He chose on purpose to set longevity up as a networked business for one reason and one reason only. We are building a grassroots army of the informed to help us spread Wallach's message of health recovery through medical nutrition, and we need your help. We can't go through the front door, so we're going through the back door. So there's two ways you can work with us. You can tell us your health problems, and for no charge, we will tell you for free Dr. Wallach's health recovery protocol for that condition. And then we'll sell you the supplements at wholesale. And then you buy the supplements the same way you buy them at a health food store or online. You take the supplements, recover your health, life is good. You can do that. Or you can join us. Costs $10 to join us. $10. One time. $10. And if you join our cause for $10 and become a member of Longevity, we will teach you for free Doc's health recovery protocols, because remember, healing is easy. And we will also show you a way to expose your friends and family members and church members to our message of health recovery through medical nutrition in a way that makes them run to you instead of makes them run away from you. Because let's be honest, it's hard enough for me as a licensed naturopathic physician to get people to listen, because we're so far down the rabbit hole in our abject, undying obedience to what the MDs say. It's a cultural myth. It's hard to crack. It's hard enough for me as a licensed physician to get people to listen. You think your neighbor's going to listen to you if you knock on his door and say, "Hey, Harry, I can help you with that arthritis"? He's going to look at you like you got 3 heads. But we have figured out a way, a workaround for that. It's easy. If you join us for $10, we will show you a way to expose your friends and family and church members to this message in a way that makes them move into action. And then we'll pay you to do that. So, talk to us. We'll tell you how to recover your health. Join us, and we'll pay you to recover your health. Life is good. And that's Dr. Wallach driving the bus, ladies and gentlemen. Now, here's the meat and potatoes of what we need to talk about. If you never remember anything else I tell you, remember this. This is what the human body needs in order to stay healthy. 91 essential nutrients, and here's the breakdown. 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, and 3 essential fatty acids for a total of 91. That's what the human body needs. However, contrary to popular belief, it is impossible to get all 91 from food. You cannot do it. It's not just improbable or difficult. It is impossible. And here's why. The lion's share of our nutrient needs are minerals. Things like calcium and selenium and zinc and phosphorus and iron. There's only one person that makes minerals, God. There's only one place that you find minerals, the soil. You can find them in the water, but if they're in the water, it's because they washed out of the soil into the water. However, the problem with minerals, and it's 2/3 of our needs, it's a giant portion of our nutrient needs. The only problem with minerals is they don't exist evenly dispersed in the soil. Ask any gold miner. He'll tell you. Minerals exist in veins, like the chocolate in chocolate ripple ice cream, right? So over here, we've got some calcium, but we got nothing here. Over here, we've got some iron. Nice little vein of iron, but we got nothing here. Over here, we got a whole bunch of selenium, but we got nothing here. So this cornfield might have 16 minerals in it. A cornfield 20 miles away might have 7 minerals in it. A cornfield 3 states away might have 18 minerals in it. The corn only needs 6. You need 60. Because the minerals are not evenly spread out, everybody is deficient in them. Everybody. And by everybody, I mean everybody. And because your medical doctor does not know this, neither do you. Because your insurance company does not pay for this, you do not have access to it readily. This is why we give 300, 400, 500 free lectures a year. This is why why we have people running around telling their neighbors this. Because my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And the drug companies aren't certainly not going to tell you this. So we need your help, if you feel so inclined. So, what's the deal? There's certain things we need to do in order to survive on planet Earth, right? We have to build houses and heat them and cool them. We have to make clothing and wear it. We have to bathe the human body. We have to find water and purify it. We have to develop a method to eliminate our waste products, right? These are all things we need to do to survive. Well, there's one more thing we need to do. We need to scour the globe, find all 91 essential nutrients, collect them, and swallow them. If you do not do this, it is just a matter of time until your body runs out of something, and then your nutrients get to such a level of lowness that something breaks. So you get high blood pressure, or fibromyalgia, or osteoporosis, or osteoarthritis, or anxiety and panic attacks, or type 2 diabetes, or whatever. And then you go to an MD, and he throws a drug at it. And we go from bad to worse, because we don't know any better. You cannot fix a nutrient deficiency with a drug. And when you try, I guess I should have turned my phone on.
Gotcha.
When you try, you will die. Dr. Wallach, I presume. Well, I'm giving a lecture right now. Say hello to the crowd. Hold on. Doesn't like it. Doc, we're getting feedback. I gotta go. Keep the faith. That was not planned, by the way.
We wanted to say hi.
Yeah, I wanted you to say hi too. Maybe we'll call him back. Dr. Wallach is in Fort Lauderdale, I think, tonight. It's crazy, right? Now remember I said healing is easy, right? So this is easy to understand. This is not rocket science. Here's how much nutrition the human body needs. 91 essential nutrients. Here's how much we get from food, less than half. The stress of life wears away at our reserves and then something breaks. It's that simple. It's that simple. So all that we need to do in order to help the body recover is put it back in before it's too late. Now, do you remember I said healing is easy? Well, this is why. Because you don't need to figure it out. You don't need to do thousands of dollars of complicated blood work to micromanage your nutrition. You don't need to do that. All you need to do is fill the tank up and stop eating food that's gumming up the works. That's all you need to do. Most of the time, and your body recovers. Now, we've made it easy for you. Or Dr. Wallach's made it easy for you. This Healthy Start Pack, 3 things, has all 91 essential nutrients in it. In an extremely absorbable recipe. That's all you need. And guess what? If you have a problem with your central nervous system or your heart, you take the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. If you've got a problem with type 2 diabetes or type 1 diabetes, guess what? You take the Healthy Blood Sugar Pack. If you've got arthritis or bone and joint problems, guess what? You have to take the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack because healing is easy. It is. You've been brainwashed by 100 years of the MDs thinking that, oh, it can't be that easy. For goodness sake, it's got to be more complicated than that. Well, it's not. Now, here's a couple of different ways we could go at this point in the evening, all right? I can tell you about clogged arteries, type 2 diabetes, and obesity with slides, or I can just open it up for questions right now. It's up to you. So by show of hands, how many people want me to talk about 3 illnesses with the slides and bring you up to speed with that? Is that what you want? You want me to go there? Okay. All right, that's Yes, okay. Let's do that. So here's how arteries clog. It's not genetic, and it's got nothing to do with cholesterol. So, by the way, you have two types of blood vessels in your body. You've got arteries and you've got veins. Arteries carry blood away from your heart, and veins carry blood back to your heart. The arteries have muscles in them. And it's only the arteries that get clogged. The veins never get clogged. So if it was cholesterol that was the culprit, you would think that it would happen in veins as well as arteries. But it doesn't. It only happens in arteries. And by the way, it only starts where the artery bends. The clog in the artery always happens where the artery takes a turn. It never happens on the straight run. It can populate from the curve into the straight run, but it always starts at the curve. And if you did 26,000 autopsies like Wallach, you would have figured that out too. Now you know more about clogged arteries than any cardiac expert in the United States. Oxbow lakes you might be familiar with. Oxbow lakes are formed by sand and silt that's carried downstream. And when the river bends, the sand and silt piles up at the bend. It's fluid dynamics. That's just what happens, and it forms a beach. As more and more sand and silt piles up there, the river can actually cut itself off from itself and form what's called an oxbow lake. It's just fluid dynamics. Exactly the same thing happens in your arteries. In your blood, there are nasty little chemicals called free radicals. Free radicals float downstream in your blood, and when the artery turns a corner, they pile up against the side of the artery, and they stick to the artery wall. And when free radicals stick to something, they destroy what they stick to. So, you get free radicals in the blood, they pile up at the bends of the arteries, they damage the artery wall. Is this good or bad? This is bad. What's in the artery? Blood under extremely high pressure. If the artery wall gets damaged all the way through, you will bleed to death in about 3 minutes. Your body has wisdom. It knows that this is going to happen, so it stops it. Guess what it does? It bandages the tear with cholesterol. Because it's got a ton of that, it can make it. So the free radicals pile up, damage the artery wall, the artery starts to tear, the body freaks out and puts a cholesterol bandage, which creates a beachhead, which causes more free radicals to accumulate right here, which causes more damage, more cholesterol, and that's how your arteries get clogged. Cholesterol is the fix. If it was the cause, then 45 years of statin drugs should have eliminated it, right? But it didn't. And Dr. Wallach proved this in 1972 and published it. But nobody paid any attention. Now, and this is where you stop liking me. Okay? There are sources of free radicals. And you do not know what they are, because you've taken the wrong dog out for the hunt. You've also believed popular notions. You know, Betty Crocker was not a doctor. Okay? These are free radical sources. These foods nobody should look at, let alone eat. Oil in a bottle. That's right, olive oil. Everybody's favorite. Stop eating oil. Well done red meat. It should say red in there. You want to eat red meat, have it rare or medium rare, and eat as much of it as you want. It's actually pretty good for you. Fried food. If it's fried, it'll kill you. Chemicals, you know, carbon dioxide, secondhand smoke, automobile exhaust, all of these things create free radicals, as do preservatives in meat that are called nitrates. These are found mostly in bacon, sausage, pepperoni, deli ham, deli turkey, and the such. Now, I eat bacon 5 days a week, but my bacon is nitrate-free. So you can have sausage and pepperoni and deli ham and deli turkey, just get it nitrate-free. You have to shop for it. You can eat red meat, just eat it rare or medium rare. Okay? savage cultures, the Bama people and the Huns and all those people, one of the things that they didn't do was eat oil. That's one of the reasons why they live so long. And that whole Mediterranean notion is nonsense. Here's how that happened. Somebody looked and they saw that the people living on the coast of the Mediterranean lived 5 years longer than the people that lived inland. That was significant. 5 years is significant. So they said, that's significant. What do you think causes it? So they looked at the diet, and the people on the coast ate more fruits and vegetables and nuts and olive oil than the people inland. So they said, oh, the Mediterranean diet, right? But they neglected a data point, which was the island of Sardinia, off the toe of Italy. The Sardinians were the longest lived people in the Mediterranean. They lived 5 years longer than anybody else. 5 years longer than the people on the coast. And the only difference between the Sardinians and the people on the coast, the Sardinians ate olive oil. They ate goat and root vegetables, sweet potatoes. No olive oil. So just by eliminating olive oil, they added 5 years to their life. But the olive oil industry took this and ran with it, and you've been suffering from it ever since. Now, if this was a map of the United States, and Florida was down here, Maine was up here, Seattle and California, if you drew a line from the Mason-Dixon line south into Florida through the old Confederate states, this part of the country, the old South, is where people died soonest. The people in the old Confederate states have the shortest life expectancies of anybody in the United States. Interestingly enough, in exactly the same area is where the highest percentage of MDs work. Because MDs are like vultures, they gravitate to where people are dying. And they do. Because people spend the majority of the money that they spend in their life on health care is spent in the last 2 years of their life. It's a gigantic money machine. So the MDs are going to gravitate to where people die the most. Where do people die the most? In the Old South. And the only thing different in the Old South is what they eat. And I don't know if you've ever been to the South. I was just there last week. If you let them, they'd fry water down there. They fry everything. Everything. You know, it's a holdover from the slave days when the slave masters gave the slaves scraps. The only way they tasted good is if you fried them. So it's a cultural myth that was built in. Oh, let's eat fried food. Well, everybody eats fried food and everybody dies 10 years before everybody else in the United States. And your medical doctor thinks it's genetic. You got to be kidding me. Wallach wrote a whole book about this. It's called Black Gene Lies. Because blacks do die younger than anybody else. There's a reason. It's because they eat fried food all the time. It's got nothing to do with genetics. And Hispanics live longer than anybody else in the United States because they use modern medicine the least of anybody. They don't go to doctors. They use old home remedies. They avoid doctors like the plague. And they live longer. So take it from them. Now, the good news is that free radicals are eliminated by antioxidants. Vitamin C being the most famous. And selenium. Your body has a natural antioxidant called glutathione, and selenium recycles it. So the more selenium you have, the more antioxidants your body makes. This is one of the reasons why selenium is such an excellent anti-cancer medicine. Now, this is Dr. Wallach driving the bus. Those people that live to be long, old, and the Hunses and the Bama people, etc., by accident, they were consuming 20,000 antioxidant points, 20,000 ORAC points of antioxidants. I should mention something here. Vitamins are measured by milligrams in micrograms, right? Antioxidants are measured by their ORAC score. That's how antioxidants are measured, by their ORAC. That's an acronym for oxygen radical absorption capacity. The average American gets 1,200 ORAC points a day. 1,200. The long-lived people, 20,000. Why do you think they live longer? Because they get way more antioxidants than we did. They did it by accident. If you do it on purpose, guess what? You're going to live longer than they are. It's a no-brainer. In that red powder that Dr. Wallach figured out, in 2 scoops, 1 serving, there's 5,745 ORAC. That's pretty good. Let's look at the competition. People that don't have Dr. Wallach. We have 5,700. Mona V has 691. Zango has 1,000. Himalayan Goji has 380. And Tahitian Noni has 405. We have 5,700. And that's Dr. Wallach driving the bus, but don't worry, it gets better. 20,000 was the key for long life in those cultures. Well, Dr. Wallach developed a chocolate based on an Incan recipe that has 16,900 ORAC per piece. And it's chocolate. And you just ate some.
Good for us.
So what does this mean? This means if you do 1 healthy start pack that gives you all 91 nutrients and 1 piece of chocolate, you're good. And did I mention it's chocolate? Right? This is what Dr. Wallach driving the bus. High blood pressure, most of the time, is caused by calcium deficiency, and here's why. Your arteries have muscles in them. And your arteries, the muscles in the arteries constrict and relax, constrict and relax, constrict and relax to help your heart pump blood. Pretty smart. Mother Nature's pretty smart. A muscle in the artery is no different than a muscle in your leg. If you run out of calcium or magnesium, you get cramps or Charlie horses. Well, if you run out of calcium and magnesium, the muscle in your artery gets a cramp or a Charlie horse too. So it'll constrict, but it won't relax. And when it constricts, your blood pressure goes up. It's like squeezing a garden hose. The water comes out faster. So most of the time, high blood pressure is a simple, undiagnosed calcium and magnesium deficiency. It's not genetic. You certainly don't have a hydrochlorothiazide deficiency, which is one of the most common blood pressure medicines. The only problem with hydrochlorothiazide is in 5 years it gives you type 2 diabetes. Your medical doctor is like a colorblind art critic. They are completely blind to everything about nutrition. They don't know diddly squat about it. And because they don't know anything about it, they are therefore completely incapable of helping you recover your health from a chronic disease. They do not know this. And that's the biggest problem. So, it's a simple calcium deficiency. In order to fix a calcium deficiency, if you're about under 150 pounds, you need 1,200 milligrams of calcium a day. But wait a minute, Dr. Glidden, what are you telling me? It's all we need to do. Well, last year, in the United States, we spent $70 billion on vitamins and minerals. $70 billion at the health food store. Everybody's still sick. Well, what's going on? Here's what's going on. Let's say you think Dr. Glidden's a pretty straightforward, honest guy, and you've got high blood pressure. So you're going to run out and get you some calcium. So you go down to the health food store. Oh, you open the door and they've got more calcium than anything else. They've got 100 bottles of that stuff. This bottle's $10 a bottle. This one's $110. The guy with the nose ring and the tattoo doesn't know which one to tell you to take at the checkout store. So what are you going to do? You're going to get the one in the middle for $30. That's what I would do, right? So you do that. So what does it say? It says 500 milligrams of calcium per capsule. Well, 1,200 is the goal. So 500 per cap, I'm going to take 3, right? That would be reasonable to assume you have a little extra. Whoa, not so much. Here's why. In one 500 milligram cap of calcium carbonate, there's approximately 200 milligrams of calcium and 300 milligrams of carbonate. It is your stomach's job, the acid in your stomach, it's its job to break that molecule in two and liberate the calcium. Guess what your stomach acid needs to be strong? Calcium! So if you're calcium deficient, there's no way your stomach acid is going to be strong. And if you're taking a Tums or a proton pump inhibitor, it's over. But let's say, for argument's sake, that your stomach acid has the integrity to break this in two. Let's just say that it does. It doesn't, but let's say that it does. So, you get 200 milligrams of calcium now, right? Well, no. Because calcium carbonate is 15% bioavailable. That means, in one 500 milligram capsule of calcium carbonate, you are lucky if you get 30 milligrams of calcium from that. In order to meet the 1,200 milligram goal, you need 40 a day. There's only 60 in the bottle. Most people take 3. That's why everybody's still sick. Because when it comes to vitamins and minerals, it's a dose-dependent phenomenon. You know, if your doctor told you you had sinus infection and you needed 30 milligrams of an antibiotic 3 times a day, right? If you took 10 milligrams once a day, it wouldn't work. Does that mean antibiotics don't work? No. It means you just didn't take enough. Well, it's the same with vitamins and minerals. Now, there's no way I'm recommending you take 40 calcium capsules a day. I'm not recommending that. But with Youngevity's nutritional supplement, that white liquid calcium, it's 97% absorbable. And that's Dr. Wallach driving the bus. You take 1 ounce, you get all your calcium needs met. Yes, sir.
And when you're over 50 and 60, that goes to 3 to 5%.
Good point. And if you're eating a bunch of other foods, it goes down even more. And I'm going to tell you that in a second. Okay? So, there's 2 things that we need. Well, my take-home message here is, in order for nutritional supplements to work, it's got to be a good recipe. Vitamins are like chicken soup, man. The recipe's everything. If you get a bad recipe, you're going to get bad results. You get a good recipe, you get great results. Our recipes are informed by $25 million of federally funded research, 26,000 autopsies, 10 million blood chemistries and histopathologies, and over 30 years of clinical experience by the world's leading naturopathic physician. It does not get any better than that. And he chose to give this to you without a doctor's visit. If Wallach had a private practice, are you kidding me? He'd be at $1,000 an hour and there'd be a 1.5-year waiting list. But he didn't. Now, type 2 diabetes. This was proven in 1957 by this guy, who was an MD, believe it or not, to be a chromium deficiency. Chromium is a mineral like calcium. It's found in the soil. But guess what? According to the United States Department of Agriculture, 90% of all Americans are deficient in chromium. So I wonder why type 2 diabetes is on the rise. Oh, it must be genetic. It's not. It's a simple nutrient deficiency, but because you're a medical doctor, has no training, no clinical experience, no respect, and no appreciation for medical nutrition, he doesn't know his you-know-what from his elbow. He can pull a bullet out of your arm with great skill and dexterity. He can patch up a multiple compound fracture of your leg that you got when you were skiing, or crack your head open in a car crash. He'll save your darn life. But he knows nothing about this. He is the wrong dog for this hunt. And because medicine is a for-profit industry, there is also no law that requires him to cure you, even if a cure exists. One diabetic patient, type 2 diabetic patient, treated for 40 years, which is the industry standard, will profit the medical industry approximately $400,000. So why on earth would they want to fix it? They don't. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Here's how it works. Your body is like a house. You've got doors and windows and walls on the house. If someone wants to get into your house, they have to come through the door or the window, right? They can't just absorb through the wall, okay? Can't do that. Got to go through the door or the window. Well, it's no different with every cell of your body. The cells of your body use sugar as their gasoline. Sugar is not the enemy. I don't care if it's refined white sugar. I don't care if it's fructose, agave, honey. I don't care. Sugar is sugar is sugar. Sugar is not the problem. Your body loves sugar. So you eat something that's got sugar in it. Now there's sugar in your blood. That's a good thing because your body needs that gasoline. So there's sugar in your blood. Now your pancreas makes a molecule called insulin. Insulin is these little triangles and sugar is the blue squares. So now there's insulin in your blood. Insulin flows through your blood, goes to the front door of your house, attaches to the front door, rings the front doorbell, and over here the kitchen door opens, letting in the sugar. That's how it works. There's sugar in the blood, your body makes insulin. Insulin binds to the cell wall, rings the doorbell, and the door opens and lets the sugar in. Pretty smart. That's how it works. With type 2 diabetes, here's what happens. You eat something that's got sugar in it. There's sugar in your blood, your pancreas makes insulin. Insulin floats through your blood, rings the doorbell on the cell wall, but the kitchen door stays closed. Because the message to open, which goes through the middle of the cell, needs 27 minerals, more or less, to propagate. If you don't have those minerals in your food, in your cell, it's like snipping the wire on the doorbell. So you're ringing the bell, you're ringing the bell, you're ringing the bell, but nothing's happening. Because somebody snipped the wire. Well, why was the wire snipped? Well, in this metaphor, the wire was snipped because your body ran out of the stuff it needed to keep the wire healthy. That's the only reason. So, now the sugar's still in your blood. So your pancreas makes more insulin. Insulin rings the bell, door stays closed. There's still sugar in the blood, your pancreas makes more insulin. Insulin rings the bell, door stays closed, there's sugar in the blood. So forth and so on. The average type 2 diabetic has hundreds of times the amount of insulin in their blood that a normal person does. Eventually, there's so much damn insulin in there, it kicks the door down, breaks it down, forces its way into the house. Is this good or bad? This is bad. So when you damage the cell wall by all this insulin, you lose your toes, you lose your feet, you lose your vision. This is why people with diabetes lose their limbs. Because for years, they've been destroying the cells in their body. And what does a medical doctor give a type 2 diabetic? Insulin! And I'm the quack. You've got to be kidding me. So what do? Give the body the nutrients it needs. So now, insulin rings the doorbell, kitchen door opens. Life is good. That's Dr. Wallach driving the bus. If type 2 diabetes was genetic, we wouldn't be able to fix it. Remember, we can't say we cure it, we don't cure it. We support and promote your body's ability to have healthy blood sugar. And you will have healthy blood sugar. As a matter of fact, when you're taking this stuff, you have to be measuring your blood sugar every day. Because as it comes down, you have to adjust your dead medication. If you don't, you'll go into insulin shock. Because you'll take too much. So you need to adjust down your dose. The same thing with high blood pressure. You got to keep measuring your blood pressure. Because as it comes down, because now your body has the stuff it needs to have healthy blood pressure, you're going to need less and less of the med. And then, you'll have type 2 diabetes for 15 years. You start to take this stuff, and your type 2 diabetes symptoms disappear in 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, it's gone. And then you go to your doctor. Your doctor says, son of a gun, your type 2 diabetes is gone. And you say, I know what, but doctor, now I have an eye problem. You say, really? What's the problem? I can't see you anymore, you knucklehead! I fixed it in 8 weeks! You managed it for 12 years! You're fired! I'm telling you, the only way we're going to change this nonsense is if we stop supporting the industry. So that's why we encourage you to join us. You know, pay your hard-earned money for vitamins, not for insurance. Buy comprehensive catastrophic insurance in case some drunk driver sideswipes you and you have to go to the hospital. That's the only thing you need insurance for. You do not need it for chronic health conditions. You need your nutritional supplements. That's what you need. And you better start to take it, because if you don't, it's just a matter of time until something breaks. Now, arthritis is fancy schmancy doctor talk for inflammation of a joint. The only reason you get arthritis is not because you have old age, not because you have a bad gene, and not because you've been cursed by God. It's because your joints have run out of the raw materials they need to keep themselves healthy. Period. Your bones are regenerating themselves all of the time with two cells called an osteoblast and an osteoclast. It's chewing up old bone and laying down new bone. Chewing up old bone, laying down new bone all of the time. If you run out of the stuff your body needs to lay down the new bone, guess what? You can't lay down new bone. Look, man, if I'm building a house and I've got the blueprints, I've got the permits, I've got the carpenters, I've got the lumber, I've got the nail guns, but no nails, there ain't nothing getting built that day. It's the same with the human body. Your joints run out of the stuff they need, your joints break. It's not a voodoo curse. So what do? You take the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack. That's all you do. And this product here didn't come through, called Glucogel. Look, Dr. Wallach, by the way, anybody heard of glucosamine sulfate? It's a famous joint thing now. Dr. Wallach's research 15 years ago that started that whole glucosamine craze. It was Wallach that started the whole glucosamine craze. It was that research that's in the Smithsonian that started that. Now here's an interesting fun fact to know and tell. If you took a chicken bone, chicken drumstick, cut all the meat off of it, put it in a can of vinegar for 30 days, the acid in the vinegar would dissolve all the minerals from the bone. But the chicken drumstick would still look like a chicken drumstick. And when you took it out of the vinegar, it would be so rubbery you could tie it into a knot. Because there is a cartilage skeleton which is in back of all of your bones. The hard minerals of all of our bones and joints are laid on top of a cartilage skeleton. And the cartilage skeleton is made from glucosamine, hyaluronic acid, and some other stuff. This product here, Glucogel, which I don't have a picture of for some reason, has all of the raw materials that the cartilage needs to be healthy. This is not rocket science, folks. If I had a little scraggly tomato plant that I'd forgotten about, and that poor little thing's on its last legs, because I hadn't watered it in 3 weeks. If I rescue the poor little thing, repot it in good soil, good fertilizer, good water, good sunlight, chances are it's going to bounce back. Well, guess what? If a little scraggly tomato plant can bounce back, you think your joints can bounce back? Well, yes, they can. Think your blood sugar can bounce back? Well, yes, it can. Think your heart can bounce back? Well, yes, it can. And with Dr. Wallach driving the bus, it bounces back rapidly because healing is easy. Everybody gets the 91 essential nutrients, plus extras as needed. Life is good. Okay? Okay, so now I'm going to turn the house lights up. Could you flip that switch by the door, please? Down. Okay, that's good. All right, now the formal part of the evening is over. Okay? Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming. It's 9 o'clock. Feel free to leave. Feel free to talk to the people out front, because Dr. Wallach has trained them for the last 10, 12, 14 years. They know what to do to help you. They know what products to recommend to help you recover your health. You can talk to them, recover your health, life is good. You don't have to feel funny about getting up and leaving. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your patience. And if you'd like to stay, we're going to open it up to a more informal part. I'm going to take questions from the audience and answer them until as long as we need. I'll stay here till midnight if we need to. Okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Okay, right in front, first question.
What causes hives? My daughter gets lots of them, lots of attacks by, and they told her she has an overimmune system.
All right, so her daughter has hives, gets a lot of hives, and MD's told her she has an overactive immune system. Right? And she believes them. Of course she does, because, you know, they've had 12 years of training and big white coats, and they're in this multi-million-dollar high-tech facility. It's a giant snow job. I'm going to pull something up here. Hives are caused by this. And you're really not going to like me. Hold on. Betty Crocker was not a doctor. Betty Crocker wasn't even a real person.
No.
The problem is wheat, barley, rye, and oats. Okay? Let's take a look at your intestinal tract. Here's your mouth, here's your stomach, here's your small intestine. Your small intestine is like a tube. It's about 12 feet long, and there are millions of these tissue in them, like little tentacles called villi. And on top of those little tentacles are microvilli. There's billions of these, literally billions of these tissues in your small intestine. It is the job of these structures, these villi, to absorb nutrients into your blood. This is how you get nutrition into your, this is where the nutrients from your food enters your bloodstream, through the villi. Okay? That's their job, to absorb nutrients. Now, this is a protein. A protein is a complicated structure. And it's amino acids that are all linked together. And it is your stomach's job to break these little balls off. It's like a chain of pearls. It's a protein. Big, long chain of pearls. And it's your stomach's job to break all those pearls off so that instead of one long chain, there's all these little individual pearls. Okay? And the individual pearls are called amino acids. And amino acids are essential nutrients. But this protein, when it's wheat, barley, rye, or oats, these chemical bonds are really, really, really hard for your stomach to break. It's really hard. So guess what? It doesn't. So instead of these little tiny proteins, these little tiny pearls tumbling through the intestinal tract, you've got these big strings of pearls tumbling through the intestinal tract, and they destroy the villi. They destroy the villi. They destroy the villi. What do the villi do? The villi absorb nutrients. Now, there's another interesting thing that happens. The villi transport nutrients from outside the body into the bloodstream. And when anything enters the bloodstream through the villi, it meets the immune system. Immune system central headquarters is right here, at the border between the villi and the bloodstream. Now, when the villi get destroyed, it's like punching holes in the border fence between, the United States and Mexico, for want of a better metaphor.
Yeah.
So now there's holes in the fence so the aliens can slip through. So when the villi are destroyed, big molecules of food can slip into the bloodstream where there should only be little molecules of food. When you get a big molecule of food in the bloodstream, it creates an allergic response. Because it meets the immune system, because the immune system is right here. So they're right in as much as she does have a hyperactive immune system. But the reason she has a hyperactive immune system is not because she has an immune system. People don't get breast cancer because they have breasts. You don't get prostate cancer because you have a prostate. You don't get a hyperactive immune system because you have an immune system nor a bad gene. You get a problem in this regard because she's eating wheat, barley, rye, and oats. And now she's developed multiple food allergies. And every time she eats, organically grown carrots harvested by Trappist monks under a full moon while they're chanting, she reacts. Healthiest food in the world, she reacts. Because she's been hammering her intestinal tract unwittingly for, how old is she?
54.
For 50 years with wheat, barley, rye, and oats.
And she has a bread maker.
And she has a bread maker. Okay, so, and if we take this to the extreme, it results in irritable bowel, celiac, Crohn's, and ulcerative colitis. This is all the same illness, just more and more tissue destruction.
Can you make cornbread in a bread maker?
Yes, sir. Now, okay, so what we recommend is no wheat, no barley, no rye, and no oats. Gluten-free. We recommend that you become gluten-free. And if you are gluten-free, you'll be better. So, and if you don't believe me, take the Dr. Glidden challenge. Stop eating wheat, barley, rye, and oats for 10 days in a row. All right?
Yeah.
And on day 11, all I want you to eat is wheat, barley, rye, and oats. Okay? Have pancakes for breakfast, have a donut, have a bagel for lunch, have pasta for dinner. If you make it to lunch without some type of trouble, I'll eat my darn half. Because you don't know what you're missing. It's because your body habituates to it. When I was in college, you could smoke in bars. And I wasn't a smoker, and I wasn't a big drinker, but we'd go, Sunday, you're watching the football game, right? And everybody around you is smoking. So when you're in the smoky bar for more than half an hour, you don't smell the smoke anymore. You get used to it. And then you leave to get something from your car. You come back in 5 minutes later. As soon as you open that door, man, is it smoky in here. Because you've been eating wheat, barley, rye, and oats your entire life, you get used to feeling like crap. When you stop it for 10 days and then eat a lot of it, you feel like crap. Because that's how it works. So if you don't believe me, take the 10-day gluten challenge and see how you feel. Yes, sir.
Does that include beer?
Yes, regretfully. Beer, because of barley. Now, Budweiser makes gluten-free beer. And it tastes like crap.
I used to say that I work in the medical field, the allopathic field, and I've gone to Dr. Wallach's talk, your talk, I've
Yeah.
listened to the dead doctors. And one thing I've never heard mentioned is I work in the electrophysiology field, so I deal with pacemakers, defibrillators. What's the cause of an electrical abnormality?
Smartest girl in class. All right, I'm going to tell you an excellent story. All right. So first of all, thank you for coming.
Oh, yes.
Okay, it's kind of like enemy territory, right? Yes, she says she works in the medical field and she does a lot of work in cardiology with people that need pacemakers. And what's the deal with that, right? Cardiac arrhythmias and problems. I'll tell you a great story. 2 years ago, I was giving a lecture in Colorado somewhere. Colorado Springs, I think, Denver maybe. And we didn't do this tonight, but usually we have a time when people come up and give a little 2-minute testimonial, right? About how they were before they took the supplements and how their life has changed, and it's pretty great. I don't know why we didn't do that tonight. It's probably because I just got off a plane and came right here, right? But in any event, a woman got up and she had a great testimonial, And this was her story, I'm paraphrasing. She was in her mid-30s, and she had developed a cardiac arrhythmia, so her heart started beating funny. And she went to her MD and, saw someone like you, and they did a full workup, and said, son of a gun, you have an arrhythmia, and we need to put you on a pacemaker, so we're going to schedule you for surgery in 8 weeks, or whatever, okay? So, God bless her, but she heard Dr. Wallach on the radio, I think. She said, Doc, what do I do for cardiac arrhythmia? Doc told her what to do. Now, explain why it happens in a minute, all right? So she did everything Dr. Wallach told her to do. She stopped eating these foods. She started taking the nutritional supplements. That's all that she did. And, 6 weeks or 7 weeks later, she's back at the doctor's office, the MD's office, for the pre-op for the pacemaker. Son of a gun, her heart's beating perfectly fine. So what do? They put her on a treadmill to try to give her a heart attack, right? Because that's what they do with the treadmill, believe it or not. Okay? All right? So no heart attack, the heart's beating fine. The doctor said, holy smokes, what did you do? She said, you're not going to believe it. I took all these nutritional supplements. The doctor said, that's amazing. He said, I have 10 other patients just like you. I want to put them all on the nutritional supplements and see what happens. He put them all on the nutritional supplements. They all got better. 2 weeks later, there's a knock on his door. It's the hospital administrator. What are you doing? You just canceled 11 pacemakers. We lost $3 million. Doctor said we cured it. We didn't need to put the pacemakers in. The hospital administrator said it's not our job to cure it. It's our job to put pacemakers in. You want to cure the heart? Work somewhere else. All right? Now, little anatomy lesson for you. You've got the brain in the spinal cord, goes down your back, and all the nerves come out of your spinal cord to go to different parts of your body, and the spinal cord is surrounded by your backbone. The vertebrae, those are the things that the chiropractor adjusts. And there's 33 backbones, okay? And between the backbones is a cushion. It's called an intervertebral disc. It's like a sponge, or it's like a feather pillow. And the function of the cushion is to cushion the nerves as they come out of the spinal cord so that the bones don't squish them. Okay? But if a feather pillow loses its feathers, it loses its ability to cushion. So when the discs between your vertebrae lose their nutrients, they get thin. And they lose their cushioning ability. This starts to put pressure on the nerves that are right there. So if it happens to be the part of your back where the nerve goes to your heart, you get a funky heartbeat. If it happens to be the part of the nerve in the part of your back that goes to your bladder, you get an irritable bladder. Or you need to pee at night. Anybody here need to pee a lot at night? Okay. So it could be, this is called degenerative disc disease. Okay? If you're peeing 3 or 4 times in the middle of the night, it's probably degenerative disc disease, and here's how you test it at home. This is an inexpensive test. You get a Barca lounger or a reclining chair, and you sleep one night at 45 degrees. Just sleep in the chair with a pillow at 45 degrees. And if it's degenerative disc disease, you will not need to get up and pee. Because if it is degenerative disc disease, when you're lying flat, the weight of your abdomen presses down on your spine, irritates the nerve because there's no more cushion there. And that causes you to want to pee. But when you're at 45 degrees, there's not as much pressure pushing down, and the nerve doesn't get irritated, and you don't want to pee. So one of the old-fashioned diagnostic techniques for that particular irritable bladder thing, if it's caused by degenerative disc, is to sleep at 45 degrees in a Barca lounger. So long story short, what we did for the arrhythmia people is rebuild the disc. So we gave them our healthy bone and joint pack plus the diet. That's all you need. The disc, the feathers go back in the pillow, and your body starts working the same way that it did. Wallach figured that out because because, 26,000 autopsies. I mean, you get a clue after a while, right?
Is this even for chronic AFib? I mean, somebody that's been in it for years?
Yes, now think it through, okay? Yes, so think it through. So, if you have an illness that's caused by a nutrient deficiency, is that just going to go away all by itself? No! It has to get worse. Because the nutrients that your body needs to fix itself are not in your food. Unless you're supplementing, you must get worse. This is why everybody gets worse. So we would expect the condition to persist. I would expect it to get worse. And you know what's one of the worst things anybody can do? Exercise! That's right, don't exercise. Couch potatoes live 10 years longer than people who exercise regularly. There's never been a professional athlete to live to be over 100. Harvard University did a study, and they showed that when you exercise, it increases your chance of a heart attack by 600%. Now, Dr. Wallach says, yeah, you're liking me more and more now. Yeah. Dr. Wallach says, and this is all common sense, think this through. I'm not done. Okay, think this through. Exercise without nutrition is suicide. Because here's why. Here's how much nutrition the human body needs. Here's how much you get from food. Less than half. Now what happens when you exercise? Your metabolism increases. You sweat it out. You burn through your reserves that much faster, and then something breaks. Now, when you exercise, you stress your body, right? You stress your heart, you stress your blood vessels, you stress your muscles, stress your joints, you stress your bones. Post-exercise, your body is attempting to strengthen itself, right? That's how Schwarzenegger got big biceps. He breaks the muscle fibers down and then the muscles repair, right? That's how it's supposed to work. What do the muscles and the bones and the joints and the heart need to repair themselves? Nutrients. You got none. And there certainly isn't any in Gatorade. Let me tell you, Gatorade's got potassium and sodium and sugar. That's it. Dr. Wallach, with Theo Ratliff, the second oldest player in the NBA, developed a sports nutrition drink. It's called Rebound FX. It's unbelievable. We've got the Chicago Blackhawks on it, the Chicago White Sox on it, a whole bunch of Olympian athletes, the New England Patriots. There's a very famous basketball player whose name we can't announce, but it rhymes with Shaquille O'Neal. He won't go on the court without it, but they make him put it in a Gatorade bottle. Look, when you nutrify your body appropriately and exercise, Superwoman, Superman. But when you exercise and just eat from the 4 food groups, you're going to kill yourself. God is my witness, way in back. Yeah.
What about, I have 2 questions. First of all, you're going to talk about how to lose weight.
Yeah, okay.
What about coconut oil?
Yeah, coconut oil, good question. So the problem with oil is that it oxidizes. Okay, if you drink half a bottle of wine and leave it open, it turns to vinegar the next day. Because it oxidizes. If you cut an apple and leave it on the table, the skin turns brown because it oxidizes. Steel turns to rust because it oxidizes. Oxidation is caused by free radicals, all right? So when that oil is on the shelf in the bottle, there's air at the top of the bottle. So you don't know how long it's been on the shelf. So it's only a matter of time until the air that's in that bottle oxidizes the olive oil. Now, coconut oil, being solid, or more dense than olive oil, takes the longest to oxidize of all the oils. It has the longest oxidation time span. So of all the oils, coconut oils is the least harmful. But it's still harmful. That's like saying, of all the poisons, strychnine is the least harmful. So am I going to take a little bit of strychnine? I don't think so. And this is a big right-hand turn for anybody to take, as is stopping wheat, barley, rye, and oats. Okay? But there's a method to the madness, because oils oxidize over time. Now, if you really just can't bear the thought of not eating oil, then what you can do is get coconut oil, put it in a wine bottle, put one of those rubber corks in the top, and suck the air out of it every time you use it, and keep it in the freezer. That way it will oxidize way less than it will otherwise, but it's still going to oxidize. So our workaround for this, and this is interesting when you think about it, is to eat like the French. With lard, and butter, and cream, and salt. The French are the second healthiest nation in the world, because they eat with lard and butter and cream and salt, all of which is great for you. We eat margarine and olive oil, and we're the 72nd healthiest nation in the world. You see the pattern here?
Doesn't all that stuff make you fat? A lot of
No. Good girl. Okay, now we're going to talk about fat. Okay? Fat does not make people fat. There's only one thing that makes people fat. It's voting for Democrats. Did I just say that? I didn't mean that. I didn't tell you. I'm from Massachusetts originally. Did I?
stands tall.
I'm from New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. Chicago is just as bad. Okay. There's only one thing that makes people fat: eating too many calories. Obesity is a deficiency disease. It is not a disease of excess. It is a deficiency disease. Okay? Let me explain that. All right, this is interesting. This was released in 2009. A United Nations study says that overeating, not a lack of exercise, is to blame for the American obesity epidemic. Overeating. Okay, it's got nothing to do with exercise. Okay? It's a bad metaphor, but there was nobody in Auschwitz that was overweight. Right? If you don't eat, you lose weight. The only thing that makes people gain weight is they eat too many calories, period. The only thing that makes people eat too many calories is nutrient deficiencies. Exactly the same thing happens in animals. It's called pica or cribbing. It's the uncontrollable need to eat in a horse or a cow. When this happens to a horse or a cow, what happens in a horse will eat the wood on its fence, it'll eat stones, it'll eat dirt, its teeth start to go, and that's bad. So they get these muzzles that they put on the horse to stop him from doing it. A cow will eat another cow. It's an uncontrollable need to eat in an animal. Now, did the animal need to exercise more? Did the horse need to exercise more? Did the cow have alcoholic parents? Was it a psychological problem? Right? Did the cow need to get off his fat ass and exercise more? No. Right? Was the cow a lazy SOB? No. The only reason this happens in animals, including the human animal, is because that's how much nutrition we need. Here's how it goes. Here's how much nutrition we need. Here's how much we get from our food. The stress of life wears away at your reserves, and when your reserves get to a certain level of lowness, your central nervous system freaks out. It knows it's running on fumes, and it forces you to eat. You must eat in the desperate attempt to fill the tank up, but the food that you're eating doesn't have this. So you go to Olive Garden, you eat 3,000 calories, and 2 hours later you're hungry again. And your doctor tells you you're lazy. Your doctor tells you he's got to cut your stomach out. Your doctor tells you it's a psychological problem and you need to take Prozac. It's unbelievable.
Diet drinks.
Diet drinks, yeah. Well, here's the thing with diet drinks. Diet drinks have two things in them. One is called phosphoric acid. The other is carbonation. Phosphoric acid strips minerals from your reserves. It drains minerals from your reserves. And the carbonation, the bubbles, neutralize stomach acid.
Oh dear.
One of the worst things anybody can do is wash down a meal with a Coke. Even sparkling water. It's the bubbles. The bubbles are carbon dioxide. The bubbles neutralize stomach acid. What's your stomach acid there for? To rip the nutrients out of the food. Well, if your stomach acid is neutralized, it can't do that. So the food doesn't have what you need anyway, and now you wash it down with a Coke, you're not going to get any nutrients from it at all. You will be eating empty calories and you will gain weight. And the one thing that will accelerate this process is exercise. This is why Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig and all of these people are in business. Because you'll lose 50 pounds, but you can only handle that for a couple of months. You can only handle a calorie-restricted diet and exercise for a couple of months. Because when you do that, you're going to drive your nutrients into despair. And then you'll chuck it all. You can't handle it. You must eat. You have to eat. So you lose 50 pounds, then you gain 60. You chuck it. And this is the secret to weight loss and not eating overdose. So what do we do for this? It's easy. You take this. This is it. This is all you do. You stop eating the 9 bad foods, and you take the Healthy Start Pack. You fill your tank up. Now this is the first time in your life you've been completely nutrified. Completely nutrified. So you're completely nutrified. You go to Olive Garden. There's 3,000 calories on the plate. You eat 500. You're done. You take the rest home in a doggy bag and life is good. It is unbelievably easy to eat a calorie-restricted diet when you're nutrified. And it is impossible to eat a calorie-restricted diet when you're starving for nutrition. It's that simple. Okay? Yes, sir.
Can this stuff help things like shingles?
Yeah, shingles. Shingles is a reaction. There's a little virus that lives in your nerve, and every once in a while it comes out to bask in the sun, and it comes up to your skin. And when you have a shingles reaction on the skin, there's a product called colloidal silver, which is a natural antimicrobial. If you get a spray bottle and spray the colloidal silver on the eruption, it'll kill the virus in about half the time that it normally would. But more importantly, the shingles outbreak is caused by an immune system that's weak.
I thought so.
The smartest girl in class, okay? Now, what makes your immune system weak? No. Not enough protein. Your bones are made out of calcium and phosphorus. Your immune system is made from protein. Imagine that. That's one of the reasons why chicken soup makes you get better faster when you get a cold. Because it's loaded with protein. Your immune system is made from protein. So one of the things that we recommend for anybody that's battling chronic infectious stuff, you're probably not absorbing the protein that you're eating. You're either not eating enough protein or you're not absorbing it. And I know you don't have enough of this stuff, because nobody does. So when you take this stuff, change up your diet, with time your system is able to more easily absorb the protein that you're eating, and then you're good to go. And in somebody's case like that, I would recommend that in addition to this, you have protein be 50% of every meal. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Protein, protein, protein. You know what the source of protein that all other proteins are compared to? Chicken egg. The whole egg. The yolk and the white. Cook it in butter and put salt on it. Hallelujah, and pass that.
And isn't it not hard?
Yeah, not hard boiled. If you hard boil it and you get that green yolk, or you get a green ring around the yolk, you've degraded the cholesterol. And we want the cholesterol in the egg. So if the yolk's gone from yellow to green, throw it out and start over. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
When you want to, build cartilage
Yes, ma'am.
for a shoulder instead of going into surgery with the Gloco gel, how many should you take, his size?
Great question. How much do you weigh, sir?
205.
205? Okay. So the recommendation for cartilage, to support and promote the health of cartilage, it's 1 glucogel per 10 pounds of body weight per day. So at 200 pounds, you need 20 a day. Okay? So make it 21 because that's easier. So you have 7 glucogel with breakfast, 7 with lunch, and 7 with dinner. Okay? Okay? And just as an FYI, I swallow 70 vitamin capsules a day. 35 with breakfast, 35 with dinner, plus I do a bunch of liquids. And I can't wait until I'm able to do more. Yes, ma'am.
Could you please speak about eye problems, glaucoma, and macular degeneration?
Got a great macular degeneration problem. Dr. Wallach was giving this lecture 17 years ago in Canada. So 300 people, right? Big lecture. And a medical doctor stood up in the back of the room and said, "Wallach, you're a lying SOB." He said, "I treat people with macular degeneration all the time. You cannot fix it." Dr. Wallach said, "You most certainly can. I'll make a deal with you." So they made a deal. That doctor gave Wallach 10 of his patients who were legally blind with macular degeneration. They all went on Dr. Wallach's program. They all recovered their vision. 100% of them. That doctor was so apologetic. You know, he recorded a CD for Dr. Wallach. It's called Seeing is Believing. It's his testimony about what he's seen with his patients who had macular degeneration on our program. Okay? Macular degeneration is oxidative damage to the retina. That's what causes it. Your oil and your stir-fried vegetables and your fried chicken is causing it. And lack of nutrients, lack of selenium, lack of antioxidants is causing it. So, you know, you're putting diesel fuel into an unleaded engine and you're never tuning the car up, and then you wonder why it runs like crap.
Age spots.
Age spots are the same thing, caused by oxidative damage to the skin. In this case, it's oxidative damage to the macula. Okay? Now, glaucoma is eye pressure, buildup of eye pressure in your eye, and that's caused by the little arteries and blood vessels that feed your eye. They bring in good nutrients and take out bad nutrients, and they bring in good fluid and take out bad fluid. Those get clogged up. And so the pressure in your eye starts to build because the blood vessels that are trying to drain it can't drain it because they're clogged up. It's the same thing that causes bad kidneys. It's the same thing that causes clogged arteries in the heart. It's oxidative damage to the little blood vessels in the eye. Now, the fix for it is the 91 essential nutrients, the diet, and an additional add-on supplement called Ultimate Daily Capsules. Ultimate Daily Capsules are a stacked amino acid that supports and promotes the resolution of those clogs. Okay? So when you take, and we would recommend for someone with glaucoma, 50,000 ORAC points of antioxidants a day. 50,000. So that means three
Whole bunch of candy.
pieces of chocolate. Bummer!
Now,
Okay.
is that the same for macular degeneration?
Yes, it's the same.
So what was that again?
Chocolate, more chocolate,
Chocolate, more chocolate.
selenium, and the 91 essential nutrients.
Selenium.
Yeah, 12 a day. Narcolepsy. Oh, I love narcolepsy. Narcolepsy is, here's how it goes. Goes insulin resistance, narcolepsy, type 2 diabetes. It's pre-type 2 diabetes. Your body is starting to get inefficient at metabolizing sugar. And when you fall asleep, it's all of that insulin that's built up in your blood that's putting you to sleep. That's what's making you sleepy, okay? And I'm going to bet you 25 cents that most of the time, you get sleepy within an hour of eating a meal. It can be related to that. It can be. Now remember, there's 91 nutrients, right? There's a lot going on here. This is like a big dance, on those old movies in Paris, and King Louis, and they've got the big din. Everybody's waltzing. There's 100 people waltzing all around, right? It's a complicated deal. So sometimes it's tryptophan, sometimes it's amino acids, but most of the time, narcolepsy is pre-type 2 diabetes. It's a blood sugar problem. So what do we do to fix it? 1 healthy blood sugar pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month, plus the diet. If you think you're going to get away without doing the diet, you're kidding yourself. Everybody has to stop eating wheat, barley, rye, and oats, or this will not work. Or it'll work. It'll just take so long that you'll abandon ship and you won't want to do it. But I'm telling you, man, you don't know what you're missing, because when you stop eating that crap, you feel like $1 million. Your energy's better, your sleep's better, your mood's better, your sex life is better, everything is better. So give it a try. You don't know what you're missing. Yes, ma'am.
You said you eat bacon
Yeah.
5 days a week. How do you cook it?
Microwave. Imagine that. The nature path is telling you to eat bacon in a microwave. Whereas what's happened to the world.
Is that better than frying?
Yeah, you can cook it in a fry pan also, and then save the grease. Just filter it, and now you've got lard. Life is good. The only time bacon is bad is when it's burnt. Any meat that's burnt, remember that list that said well done red meat is bad for you? Remember that list?
Yeah.
Well, when the protein in meat turns into a chemical called a heterocyclic amine if it's cooked too much. And heterocyclic amines are carcinogenic. You know those black marks on the steak on the grill? Those are all heterocyclic amines. They'll kill you. So you want to cook steak on a grill, wrap it in aluminum foil and cook it on the grill so you don't get the black marks.
So
And eat it rare or medium rare.
that's an exception to fried food then? It's okay to fry bacon?
No, we're not frying bacon. We're cooking bacon in its own grease. Okay? You can cook a piece of fish. There's a difference between when you deep fry something that you bring the oil up to an extremely high temperature.
400 degrees.
So you can fry in butter then?
You can cook in butter. If you try to fry in butter, you won't, because when you get it that hot, the butter burns. So you can cook stuff with butter on very low heat and life is good. Yeah, it tastes awesome.
So that's not fried food?
No, it's a common misconception. Right. Okay?
Frying steak without oil.
Yes, you can cook a steak in an iron skillet, no oil, put some butter on it. George Foreman grill. But if you're going to do it on the Foreman grill, wrap it in aluminum foil so you don't get the black grill marks. Because the black grill marks, like the burned bacon, will kill you. Or eat it rare, yeah.
About
Broil it.
fish oil tablets, flaxseed oil pills, and buckwheat.
Okay, buckwheat is not wheat. You can eat as much of it as you want. Fish oil and plant oils, flaxseed oil and hemp seed oil are essential fatty acids. You need them. We prefer, because remember it's an oil, what happens to oil? It oxidizes. So Dr. Wallett's oil is in a little gel cap that's squeezed into that gel cap in a nitrogen chamber so that if any air gets in the capsule, it's nitrogen and not oxygen, so the oil can't oxidize. And that's Wallach driving the bus. So our essential fatty acid is in a nitrogenated gel cap, and it's 100% unoxidized, and that's why it's way better for you. Yeah.
Are the other products that are like the Prohoba,
Prohoba, I don't know.
are they?
That's a good question. I don't know. I've never asked that question. I should. Call up customer service and ask. Yes, sir.
I've read that microwaves change the molecular structure of food.
I read that the Earth was flat.
So you're still saying that,
People were killed when microwaves came out.
Well, I don't know anything about that, so I'm not going to talk about something that I don't have a knowledge base about. You may be correct, but since I'm not privy to that information, I don't know what I don't know, right?
Dr. Wallach likes microwaves.
Yeah, so,
That's ridiculous.
well, then that's okay. So don't cook with a microwave. I mean, if you have evidence to the contrary, then, you know, that's how life works, right? I'm okay with that, yeah.
so you're still saying that coconut oil is not good enough even to cook in?
Yeah, I don't like any oil at all. Zero tolerance for oil. So I don't even want you to look at it. The only time you can use oil is on your skin. I'm okay with that sometimes. Way in the back.
I was just gonna say, I've been frying with water.
You've been,
Not frying, but I'm using a fry pan, and if I'm making, like I want to saute onions, I just put water in the,
you bring it up to heat. I tell you what I use, chicken broth with lard and butter in a wok. Bring it up on low heat. Woo, 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 boy, your neighbors are going to be over your house every day because your food's going to taste great. Get a French cookbook. The French have this dialed right in. Just don't eat the bread. Okay, yes, sir.
What do you take when you got a four-way bypass instead of statin drugs?
Boy, okay. All right. So, if you were my patient in the state of Washington, where I'm licensed to practice medicine, I would tell you unequivocally to flush all your statin drugs down the toilet, 100% of the time. Since I cannot prescribe a statin drug in Montana, I'm not able to tell you to stop taking it. But in the states where I can prescribe it, there are only two medications which I parenthetically tell everybody to flush immediately. Statin drugs and heartburn medicine. Flush them, because they will kill you. Okay? There's no diseases that are caused by high cholesterol. That's a myth. Your heart disease was not caused by cholesterol. It was not caused by cholesterol. It had nothing to do with it. Arteries get clogged because of inflammation to the blood vessels. Inflammation to the blood vessels is caused by free radicals in the food and not enough nutrition to put out that fire. So what I would recommend you do is go on the good food, bad food diet. And by the way, if you go to drglidden.com, on the front page of my website, there's a document. You can download it for free. It's called Good Food, Bad Food. drglidden.com. Do I have a link? No. Yeah, there it is right there. It's called Good Food, Bad Food at drglidden.com. If it's on the bad food list, don't eat it. If it's on the good food list, you can eat it or not eat it. I don't care. With the exception of salt, I want everybody to be eating salt. I want everybody to salt your food. And you need to take one healthy heart pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month. Okay? And then you won't need to worry about your heart. Yeah, and you will avoid getting Alzheimer's. Because from our point of view, Alzheimer's is a physician-created disease, and here's why. By the way, you can only diagnose Alzheimer's without an autopsy, right? That's the only thing you can definitively diagnose Alzheimer's only on autopsy. Alzheimer's is the part of the brain that's affected by Alzheimer's is 95% cholesterol. I want you to think about this. In the last 45 years, as we've been driving cholesterol into the ditch with statin drugs and fat-free diets, Alzheimer's has risen from obscurity to the 6th leading cause of death in exactly the same time frame that we've increased statin drugs. We take statin drugs, cholesterol-lowering drugs, to the tune of $25 billion a year. And heart disease is unchanged. Hasn't changed in statistics. So it's got nothing to do with cholesterol, but meanwhile, men have erectile dysfunction. That never happened before. Women have hot flushes for 5 years. That never happened before. And Alzheimer's has risen from obscurity to the 6th or 5th leading cause of death. So the part of your brain that's affected by Alzheimer's is cholesterol. And all your sex hormones are made from cholesterol. So you don't have any cholesterol, you can't make sex hormones. So if you're a man, you have ED, and if you're a woman, you get hot flushes. And if you live long enough, you get Alzheimer's. So as far as we're concerned, Alzheimer's is a physician-created disease caused by statin drugs. That's my opinion. That's why we recommend everybody stop it. Yes, ma'am.
My daughter has, she thought she had a bad tooth and it was taken out. And she still has bad pain, so she went to a doctor and he diagnosed her with trigeminal nerve disorder, neuralgia.
Yeah.
And he's got her on 2 pain meds and a mood med, which is,
Great.
yeah.
2 pain meds and a mood med.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's continue to buy insurance for that guy.
And he ruled out any kind of a brain tumor.
Oh, I'm so glad. Did he give a CT scan?
Yes.
CT scans deliver 275 times the amount of radiation that one chest x-ray does.
Really?
The reason that doctors deliver CT scans is because they get kickbacks. And they have to pay for the CT machine. You mark my words, the next round of lawsuits that's going to happen is with CT radiation poisoning. You mark my words, that's coming down the pipe.
I just got a CT scan the other night, and it was viral. It was a viral bug in my head.
It was a viral bug in your brain, and they diagnosed that with a CT scan.
Yeah.
That's medical malpractice. You need to find a lawyer. For goodness sake. Now, I'm not done with the trigeminal neuralgia. That's osteoporosis of the skull, which sounds a lot worse than it is. Okay? There are some nerves that come directly off your brain. Most of the nerves come off your spinal cord, right? But there's 10 nerves that come off your brain. They're called the cranial nerves. And those nerves go to your eyes, ears, nose, mouth, and throat. To get to your eyes, ears, nose, mouth, and throat, they have to go through tunnels in your skull. If you have enough calcium, the tunnel is open, and the wall is nice and sturdy. And the nerve is right through the middle of it, and there's no problem. But when your body runs out of minerals, because there's not enough minerals in your food, the tunnel wall starts to collapse. And that's not good. And your body knows that's not good, because if that goes all the way, you're going to go deaf, dumb, or blind, and that's not good. So in order to keep the tunnel from collapsing, your body shores it up with cartilage. It puts connective tissue inside the tunnel to brace the walls. There shouldn't be any connective tissue in there. Now there's connective tissue in there, it rubs up against the nerve. You with me? And if it happens to be the nerve that goes to your, this part of your face, you get trigeminal neuralgia. If it's the nerve that goes to your inner ear, you get vertigo. If it's the nerve that goes to your eardrum, you get ringing in the ear. If it's the nerve that goes to your eye, you get lazy eye. If it's the nerve that goes to your voice box, you get chronic hoarseness. It's all osteoporosis of the skull. It's a chronic mineral deficiency over time. I bet you 25 cents your daughter washes down her lunch with Coke. As God is my witness, she does.
She drinks a lot of pop.
And that's what causes it. Pop sucks minerals out of your body, like in rapid fire. It just drains them right out. And that's when she's an athlete? Okay, so if she was, she'd be deaf by now. Okay, so what do? We do 1 healthy bone and joint pack per 100 pounds of body weight per month and clean the diet up. It'll go away, and it'll take about 3 months. There's one more thing she can do. There's a cream that we have called Soc-Kem cream. Yeah, it's made from fish oil and it's anti-inflammatory. I want you to put some Soc-Kem cream on a Q-tip, and I want you to stick it in the ear that the pain is on. And just slather the ear canal with the Soc-Kem cream. About 50% of the time you do that, the CM cream will knock down the pain to the nerve. It reduces the inflammation in that part of the body. It's a stopgap. It's way better than the pain meds she's taking, right? But we got to fix the root cause, and the root cause is not enough bone stuff and consistent consumption of food that's sucking away bone stuff. So she cleans up her diet, she takes the supplements, and lives long and prospers. You with me? Okay, somebody over here. Yes, sir.
My wife, probably 14 years ago, we paid a bus driver to pull a kidney stone out the size of a quarter.
Yeah.
She was in her mid-20s.
Yeah.
She's having some more problem with kidneys now.
Kidney stones? Okay.
I haven't had a picture taken, but...
All right. Kidney stones are an interesting thing to talk about. And I'll take a couple more after this, okay? I appreciate your patience. Kidney stones, most of the time a kidney stone is caused by too much calcium in your blood. Kidney stones are calcium oxalate most of the time. There's only one thing that causes too much calcium in the blood. There's only one thing. Not enough calcium in the diet. Too much calcium in the blood is a reflex reaction by your parathyroid gland to a chronic calcium deficiency. So, it's kind of a complicated biochemical mechanism, but a kidney stone is a drop-dead diagnosis of a long-term calcium deficiency. Long-term. Now, the problem is the kidney stones take a long time to form. Years. And once they're formed, you can live your entire life with a kidney stone, no problem. Medical doctors love to take them out because they make money taking them out. You can live forever with a kidney stone. However, if your body ever gets the chutzpah to eliminate the kidney stone, to squeeze it out, that is an unbelievably painful thing. And that hurts a lot. One of the interesting things that I've seen happen with medical nutrition, if you've got somebody with a kidney stone, and this is how much nutrition they need, this is how much they get from the food, and the stress of life wears away at their reserves, and they're eating all the wrong food. Their body is this feeble little thing, and it's got a kidney stone. Now, you smarten up, you tune the body up, you stop eating the bad food, nutrify and strengthen the body. Now, all of a sudden, guess what? Your body's feeling good, baby. And when your body feels good, it will try to eliminate the kidney stone. That happened to my brother. My brother was taking this stuff for 3 weeks. He called me up and said, "Pete, I just passed a kidney stone. That damn stuff you gave me a kidney stone." No, it allowed you to pass it. So if you've got a kidney stone, or if you suspect you have a kidney stone and you go on this program, you're probably going to pass it. There's an herbal medicine you can take that can dilate the tubes that the stone goes through and facilitate the passage of it. It's called Berberis vulgaris, barberry. If you're passing a kidney stone, or you think you're going to pass a kidney stone, take 1 teaspoon of that in a little bit of water every 30 minutes. And you'll pass it with much less pain. I did that to a 72-year-old guy. He passed the kidney stone, didn't even know he passed it. Went in for a pre-op because they were going to surgically remove the kidney stone, and the kidney stone was gone.
Yeah. I can attest to a kidney stone being very painful. I had one years ago.
Yeah.
You're scared me because they say if you have had one, you're pretty prone to have more.
Well, that's because they're right. Because, nutrient deficiencies don't fix themselves. You have to intervene. So most people in the world don't know this. So they don't intervene. So they get another one and then another one and another one. But when you start this program, you will stop making kidney stones.
Do you know what the doctor told me? Why I passed it and I collected it?
Yeah.
I sent it in for analysis.
Yeah.
It was 100% calcium, and he said, stop eating calcium.
Yeah, so they've got it backwards. They've got heartburn completely backwards too. Heartburn, your medical doctor will tell you, is caused by too much stomach acid. It is impossible for your stomach to make too much stomach acid. It's a medical impossibility. You cannot do it. Heartburn is caused by not enough stomach acid. And all kinds of funky little bugs start to grow in your stomach, and that's what causes the reflux.
Is it true that they equate it with the pain of childbirth?
Yes, passing a kidney stone is supposed to be like that, yes, sir.
Do you have an opinion regarding capsicum or capsicum?
I love it.
Yeah.
We love that stuff. It's cayenne pepper. It dilates blood vessels, it's loaded with antioxidants, and if you grew up in Maine, one of the remedies for dealing with the cold weather was to put some red pepper in your socks. Kept your feet warm. How about that?
That's a good idea.
So the next time you're elk hunting, put some red pepper in your socks. See what happens. Yes, sir.
I never had trouble sleeping before, but about 2 years ago, having problems going to sleep or falling or sleeping. A year and a half ago, I had a heart attack, and since then it's been worse.
Okay, all right. Then we're going to end with this, okay? So the problem falling asleep is different than a problem staying asleep. If you wake up in the middle of the night, especially if you're wide awake in the middle of the night, that's a blood sugar problem. That's a blood sugar problem, and we treat that the same way we treat type 2 diabetes. Falling asleep, trouble falling asleep, most of the time is a simple calcium deficiency. That's all that it is. Okay? So the recommendation to see whether or not that's correct, because there's a saying in medicine, when you hear hoofbeats, you think about horses. The doc's calling me again. You think about horses before you think about zebras. So we think about the most common things that cause things before we start thinking about weird things. So trouble falling asleep is not enough calcium most of the time. So what do I recommend? How much do you weigh?
170.
Okay. So for 3 nights in a row, I would take 2 ounces of our white liquid calcium in about 4 ounces of cold water and drink it right before bed. I mean, you drink that stuff, brush your teeth, get into bed. Right? And that should make you fall asleep. And if it does, then you know it was a calcium problem.
Is that green cap on that calcium bottle, is that an ounce?
Yes, sir. 1 ounce. On the new one, the hourglass bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fill it to the brim of the cap, that's 1 ounce. That's a good question.
They staying asleep.
Staying asleep?
Yeah.
That's a blood sugar issue, usually. Now, you know, there's a lot of these 91 nutrients. It's like that dance floor, and there's a lot of stuff going on, right? So sometimes it's never just one nutrient. You know, if you don't have enough calcium that's making fall asleep a problem, then 5 will get you 10. You don't have a whole bunch of other things too. Because, you know, they travel in packs, right? So this is one of the great things about the medical nutrition approach, especially Wallach's approach. Because we don't need to do all this diagnostic stuff. Because our fundamental belief is the body will fix it if the body can fix it. So what do? We stop eating bad food, we fill the body's tank up, we get out of the way, and see what gets better. Most of the time, everything gets better. Now if it doesn't, you know, let's say you fall asleep okay, but then you're still waking up in the middle of the night, well then I would treat that as a blood sugar issue. But you might not need to do that. Does that make sense? First we intervene and see what happens. And then when the dust settles, we do something else. It's real common sense, pragmatic approach. Okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am done. Thank you for your time.